Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Joe, Rashad, Cherry, and I think Lou is also joining us later on. It's been a interesting, eventful past few days. COLDCARD has surprised me when I first saw it. I was like, oh, like that will not be like a huge thing. It's like a small thing. And then I saw and I checked it out a little bit close, and I was like, wow, that's that's some screw up. How do you guys look at COLDCARD situation and what it means for self custody, what it means for Bitcoin, and all of that?
I
Hey,
actually
Brandon.
think. Oh, I was
That
gonna
boy.
say, hey, Brendan, how's it going? I was gonna say, I actually think this may be worse than any exchange collapse, because the people who were storing their Bitcoin on cold cards, they thought they were doing everything right, but again, it was that usual thing of trust or verify, don't trust, and we didn't verify the code right, and that ended up being a problem, which really sucks, and it's very sad for the people who lost any Bitcoin.
Yeah, it's brutal. It's been a brutal couple of days. I was not in a remote location when it all went down, but I was away from my house, so it was a little bit unsettling feeling. But I do think that it'll be interesting to see what plays out from it. There's been quite a few Bitcoin lost on the exchanges through the years of hacks, of just complete malfeasance on the exchanges end, of just overall crime and corruption from FTX and lying about things. And I don't think this is to that scale, but I agree with Rajat. I think that this is, even though the quantity isn't higher in terms of Bitcoin lost, I think that the overall feeling of Bitcoiners right now is a little bit unsettling. But I also think that that's a good thing, because I just think that, from the conversations I've had through the years, the people I've talked to, the people I've helped, there was a lot of people who weren't ready for self-custody that were taking self-custody of their Bitcoin. And, the whole, not your keys, not your coins, it is, it's important to understand what actual ownership of Bitcoin means in terms of holding your own private keys. So I think it works for that. But I also think it pushed a lot of people into self-custody when they weren't ready for it. And I do think that, on the other side of this, we're going to be in a much better place overall. I know that even myself, as somebody who talks about this stuff all the day, every day, all day, helps people with this stuff, I learned a few things myself on how I could make my security setup better. So I do think that even though it sucks short term, and it's been absolute devastation for the Bitcoin space and community and everybody involved, I do think that we're going to come out on the other side of this in a much better place with more secure sats than we were going into it.
And there is, when I first realized it, I thought it might be bad for self custody. People are moving into exchanges, people are scared, and all of that. And I since changed my opinion on that a little bit. I think, of course, people are scared. Of course, people will be like freaked out, and that will always be that thing in the background. But then I looked at MicroStrategy. That's the only business that I have access to, like the website traffic and all of those things. And I was like curious. It's a self-custody company. Of like, how was it impacted? Did our sales just drop to zero? How was the website traffic? And the website traffic more than 10x on the first day, and like seven and stayed 7x as high for till today. Still, like it's still ongoing. It's slowly declining again. And our sales also like skyrocketed from that event. And so there is, I mean, that's a very small thing. It's like a small company. Like it doesn't take a lot to skyrocket our sales. But it made me hopeful that as an outcome of this thing, also people are rethinking their own self-custody. And I think that's also what I heard from a lot of people that were close to me, friends that I recommended Bitcoin on. They all of a sudden ask me like, oh, I have that self-custody set up. How can I make it better? Is that good enough? All of those things. And so I have that I'm always optimist, but I'm hopeful that this one event is another learning milestone in the Bitcoiners' self-custody and sovereignty and freedom journey. Maybe that's just me trying to paint a positive picture on something bad happening, but that gave me hope to see kind of an uptick in interest in a very niche, small self-custody tool.
I think you're right, though. This is making the foundation so much more powerful. So many more people, like who knew about dice rolls like 4 years ago? Everybody was probably like, "Oh, you're stupid for doing dice rolls. What's wrong with you?" And like now everybody's like, "Oh yeah, dice rolls, entropy." You see it all the time. Like it's on X everywhere, literally everywhere. Even I posted about entropy, and I never posted about entropy before, right? So that's where I mean, but that's what it does, right? It makes Bitcoin. I think it makes Bitcoin a lot more powerful because the people who have it, they're not going to lose it now. Imagine this happened in like 2036, 10 years from now, right? If it
I was
happened
thinking that the other
then,
day, Rajat. Yeah.
like the value of the amount of Bitcoin that was lost now was what, like $100 million, which is, it's a lot of money for the people who lost it. But if you look at from the grand scheme of things, like Bitcoin's worth what, 1.2, 1.3 trillion. So out of 1.3 trillion, $100 million were lost, and I get that. But think of it from just the perspective of who was protected. How many more people are more powerful because of this? How many more people have better self custody because of this than ever before?
Yep. So true. What's up, Jerry?
What's up, guys? How you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
Tough week, man. This was probably one of the scariest things I've ever been through, myself personally, and I can speak from the inside because I have the MK4, and man, when it happens, it's almost like your life flashes before your eyes, man. It's it's crazy because you know a lot of my identity and a lot of our identity is Bitcoin, and the first thing I thought about, honestly, call me I don't know, caring about people too much or something, but the first thing I thought about was
Karen.
man, first thing I thought about was, man, I'm so glad that everybody that I tried to get into Bitcoin and get a cold card didn't listen to me.
Yeah.
Because if they did,
Same.
I would have been in trouble. And I it's so funny. We got Robin on the show here, and I remember listening to Robin and him talking about something else besides COLDCARD. And anybody that talked anything about besides COLDCARD, I'm just like, wow, why would you not have COLDCARD? COLDCARD was like, to say it was the gold standard was an understatement. Like it was like like that was it. And I actually hired a company that I'll name nameless, that when I set my stuff up, they told me to buy COLDCARD. Everybody I listened to told me to buy COLDCARD. And this goes back to the when you turn it on and it says don't trust, verify. That just, I don't know. It's like we trusted, and something simple like that. Yeah. Same here, brother.
There you go. Yeah.
Yep. Don't trust, verify. And you know, all the stuff, the no shit coin inside and everything with that, it just makes you reevaluate your situation. And it put me in a very personally, yep. I had all that stuff, and it put me in a very uncomfortable position because I'm not that technical, but I had, you know, I personally had to move my Bitcoin. I don't know anybody that lost any. I didn't lose any, but at the same time, your life flashes before your eyes because you're trusting a company to hold your life savings, because I didn't do the dice rolls. I couldn't spell entropy. I still can't. Right. So that word now and all the things that happened because of that, it makes you realize like, holy shit, man, I got to really sit down and think about this, because again, like Jor always says, self-custody is not for everybody right now. And short term, is it going to slow it down? Probably. But I think as far as the normies go and the people that are not inside of our Bitcoin bubble, it's not going to mean anything. It's almost like when Mt. Gox happened. It didn't affect me when I got into Bitcoin. I didn't learn about it till like a year or two when I was in it. And this is honestly kind of quote unquote nothing compared to that. But it is a Mt. Gox / FTX moment in self-custody, because we've never had something like this. And for the people that lost their Bitcoin, the feeling that I get in my stomach for those people. I seen a gentleman, younger guy, look like he lost 18 something Bitcoin. I'm sure you guys seen it on X, and he had his back turned and he was walking away, and he said, he told the whole story, 18 and a quarter of a Bitcoin. And he said, luckily that I'm an entrepreneur and I got a high way to make money, he says, and I'll bounce back from this. I don't know if I could have bounced back from that. I don't know if everybody can, but what we can bounce back from is simply sitting back and going, all right, let's really look at what we have here, right? And I look at the price. The price didn't move. It went down a tiny bit, but it didn't move. Last time I checked, 21 million still. The network's still great. Everything's still great. It's just one of the layers on top of it was compromised or whatever. And again, it's still fresh on our mind. But at the end of the day, I think we'll be better for this. I'm still feeling this. I've never felt something like this before, man. And it's a rough time, but I think we're going to get through with it and get through it, and we'll be stronger on the other end.
There's two sides that I've seen people take that, and I'm really curious what especially Brandon says to that. The one side is like COLDCARD messed up badly. They are to blame. They're like, of course, like at first place, the people that hacked it, that stole the Bitcoin, those are the major people that you should blame. But like besides them, people that blame COLDCARD for what they did and what they're doing and what they practiced and all of those things. But then there's also the people that I hear and empathize also with them that say, if you have followed the Bitcoiners' advice of, like, for example, Ben Barron, like BTC session, when he presented the COLDCARD, he was saying in the video, roll your dices. Like he didn't say, oh, you don't need to roll your dices, or like he didn't even cover it. Like he said, roll your dices. And so like, if you actually trusted COLDCARD with your Bitcoin and it was your only device and you didn't even roll your dice, you trusted a material amount of your net worth with like that one device. And so it's like, how is that different from if you have it on exchange, if you trust a third party with your Bitcoin? Because what we have to know is COLDCARD is not a seed generation device. It's first and foremost a seed signer. And so it did a good job in like signing the seed and signing the transaction. It did a shitty job in like making generating the seed. But I think they also recommended rolling your dice, and people that promoted it promoted rolling your dice. So it's of like, I've seen people like losing 17, 20, 30 Bitcoin. If you have like millions of dollars on a device that you didn't even follow the careful instructions of like roll your dice, don't trust the entropy of that device, and that's your only key, I think that's, I don't want to sound harsh, but like that's a little bit careless almost. Like it's like if you put so much money and trust one device that costs like, I don't know, a few $100 with like generational wealth, you should do better. I don't know how you think about that, but I'm just curious how you guys like think about the personal responsibility versus blaming just COLDCARD for it.
I think to take self-custody, you need to have a certain level of paranoia, and if you don't have that, then it won't work. Like one of the reasons why I had the MK4 as well, and one of the only reasons why I used the dice rolls is because one of my friends actually told me maybe a few weeks before that, maybe a few months before that, he said, don't trust COLDCARD. And I didn't even think they're gonna fail. None of that. I'm not telling you that I had a crystal ball that I could predict the future. It just made me feel like, okay, I can't trust anybody. I can't. But not everybody thinks that way, right? And people, if I had told people, hey, I rolled dice to generate my seed phrase on the COLDCARD, they'd probably be like, oh, this guy's crazy, right? He's definitely a tinfoil hat wearing kind of person, so I'm not going to interact with him anymore. So like at the time, it probably sounded crazy, right? But even in, like Jerry mentioned, in Ben's tutorial, he talked about dice rolls. He mentioned it. He said, this is what you should do. This is why you do it. You generate your own entropy. And I give him credit for that. Without him doing that, I probably would never have even thought of rolling dice. But you can't, I don't think you can really blame people. I get what you're saying, Robin. Like there is a level of responsibility, like you're taking care of your own money. You want to make sure that you're not relying on anybody, you're not trusting anybody. But who would have thought that, right? Like that was the main purpose of what they were supposed to do. Like they spent so much time making it seem like the cold card was secure that they forgot to actually make it secure. That's the scary part.
I saw that tweet of you and I loved
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
Like, like I just like, I saw it on my feed and I laughed out loud. I just like, that's a genius tweet right there from Rashad.
Like instead of making these stickers, they could have probably used that budget to hire somebody to look at the code. Right?
Yeah.
Pretty crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
Can those people get their funds back? Do they have any way to like sue CoinKite or anything like that?
Maybe.
Are they liable?
If you can find NVK, I don't know, where is he?
He's retweeting.
Yeah.
He's not posting though. That's probably like his
wild.
VA or something.
Yeah, I mean,
and also, can they come back from this? Are they done?
I don't think so.
Oh, like,
Oh, you
you
think
mean
so?
COLDCARD or the people?
Oh, the
CoinKite.
people.
No. CoinKite.
Oh, I don't like. I have a very hard time believing they have a less than 1% chance. I will give them like 0.5% chance that they come back from that. If they come back, they have a really strong company. Like if they come back from that, it would like show how like a very strong management team. But I have a very hard time believing that they have a chance of surviving that. It's a freaking disaster.
It's interesting because time cures a lot of wounds. So it's interesting, like, while I agree with you guys, I mean, I could see 10 years from now, 20 years from now, CoinKite being around. Like, people won't know. Like, a lot of people will just have no idea. I mean, look at the last few years. Like, we got so sidetracked with ETFs and all this other stuff that we just completely dropped the ball, every single Bitcoiner, with custody and this and that. And like, obviously there's some one-off examples of people doing custody stuff here and there. But I mean, for the most part, and we've talked about this with the memes, like, where is the Bitcoin culture? Where's the memes? Where's people getting roasted online? Where's the Dylan LeClaire memes? They're gone. Like, where are the tutorials? Where's the custody? And I think that's where we get so sidetracked as a community, thinking, hey, someone else is doing the heavy lifting for us. Trump's doing the heavy lifting. Politicians are doing the heavy lifting. They got it. Bukele's doing it. This country is mining Bitcoin. Yeah, like, we win. It's like, no, we haven't. And that's where, like, Sailor is completely wrong. Like, Bitcoin is won. No, it hasn't. I can't go to the grocery store right now and have it use Bitcoin. So, or at least an easy way, a normally is going to do it. Like, could we all of us do it right now? Like, theoretically, yes. Like, are there hoops we can jump through and like you can use Bitcoin? Yeah. But who the hell is doing that? No one. And so that's the problem. It's a long fight ahead. It's a long grind ahead. And like you guys said, there's a problem with nuance in life, right? Like, it's not just one answer. There's 2 answers. There's 10 answers. Like, should people make sure their setup is good and not trust a random number generator from a company? Of course, you absolutely should. There's a level of responsibility that comes with that. We believe, I think, that you don't change Bitcoin, Bitcoin changes you. That means leveling up and becoming a different person. That means becoming a better person. And so, at the same time, can people do things wrong? Of course. And we just saw that. And in the companies or people that we trust, which goes back to not trusting, verifying what we have and introducing entropy into our lives or to our setups, so that these things are mitigated. And it hurts so much because it's all of us, right? It affects all of us, all the things we've talked about for years, self-custody and going through and then the people we know, right? People that we know or that we see, that we're close to, we've shared spaces with, or these streams with, or people that got hurt, our friends and family, like people that were hurt because of this stuff. That's why, because exchanges obviously way worse to go to, like hundreds of thousands. We outlined it on Bitcast last night, hundreds of thousands, millions of coins lost through exchanges over the last 17 years. So way worse to go to an exchange. Now in the interim, yeah, you got to do what you got to do. Like, all bets are off. You got to do stuff temporarily to get out of cold cards or the seed cold card generated seeds that you might have on another device. Get out of that, get a new passphrase, go to an exchange, temporarily and reset up what you're doing for the long term. But yeah, it's just, it hits so close to home, and that's why it hurts so much for everyone. And it's, again, another meme. It's wild how many memes Bitcoiners have had, because we don't use a lot of them anymore, quite honestly. How many of them got slayed? Again, like, stay humble, stack sats. Well, that hits home once again. We should all probably stay humble. And it's needed. It's very needed. And I think it's a good warning and reminder for all of us, just overall, that has to be something that we really take to heart. And it's not just some saying. These aren't just all sayings and memes. They are things that you try to live by, an ethos that you try to get up, whether you want to or not. I mean, we talked about this before of being a professional versus an amateur. What do professionals do? They get up, they execute generally the same routine, but they do it every single day, over and over and over every day, whether they want to or not, whether you feel like shit in the morning or whatever it is. Professional gets up and does it. Amateurs do it once a week or once a month, or they start on New Year's and then they are done by February 2nd. You know, these are the things that separate, you know, and so that's what's going to build the foundation for the future monetary system going forward, is a bunch of people that have leveled up, become different people, and have that merit and accountability and responsibility. Because newsflash, there's going to be a lot of wealthy Bitcoiners over the next 10, 15 years that are going into positions of power and taking over legacy assets. And
both sides of it. I think that it really depends on a couple different things. So number one, I'd say that, you know, I've been saying for a while now, if you have, I think the threshold that I used was 0.5 of a Bitcoin. And I said, if you have 0.5 of a Bitcoin, even though it doesn't seem like a monumental amount today in US dollar terms, it is going to be very significant in the future. And so I said that was kind of my threshold for like moving into a multi-sig and like making that your number one priority to move into a multi-sig or something very similar to that, a 2 of 3, a 3 of 5. So, you know, the people with 17 Bitcoin that they had a single sig wallet, it's as bad as I feel for them, they should have known better. And maybe they just got poor advice from whoever recommended the cold card to them. I don't know. It's difficult for me because, you know, my livelihood depends on people caring about this stuff, right? Like, this is what I talk about all day. This is what I help people with. So it's like, it's a different message coming from me and saying, hey, this, you should spend this much on your security, their Bitcoin holdings, everything, different countries. And so it's like, I don't know, man, just lots to be learned from it, I think. and that's the main takeaway for me is like, I can't give like real general advice anymore because everybody's in such a unique position. And when we're talking, even if there's 30 people in here, 300 people, everybody's different. Everybody has different comfort levels, different amount of Bitcoin. And it's hard to really just say, this is what you should do and this is what you shouldn't do, because every Bitcoiner I think is unique. And I think we need to be a little bit more careful with that. I need to be more careful with that.
It might actually be a Brandon that messed it up. I don't know. But if just for letting everyone know, I tried it on my device. If I set back the live stream like a minute, so like it's just a minute delayed backwards, it completely went away with buffering, and when I went live. So if that doesn't work, that's the way. It's strange. But yeah. Anyway, sorry, Jerry, I disrupted you.
Oh no, it's fine. Brandon got off, and some people said it was maybe because of Brandon, and Brandon just sent us a message in the background. So let's see if it's better, guys. But anyways, I asked that question about COLDCARD, and everything you said was right, Jor. Is because I know people personally that are keeping their COLDCARD device, and also people are just saying it's not the device, it's the mechanics of the, you know, the entropy seed. And the seed, exactly. And so that's my question. You know, a lot of people don't want to fork over another $1,000, $800, whatever for devices. So my question is, so when COLDCARD tries to come back or whatever, because again, everything was almost perfect with that company except that little part. Again, the major, most important part, of course. But if you rolled the dice and you had a seed phrase as well, or a passphrase as well, with the MK4, you were good. So I've heard a lot of people on the internet. I have actual personal friends that are keeping their COLDCARD wallet. So I was just wondering if I don't know if they can come back from this, and I'm thinking maybe they can, like Brandon said. I don't know.
I'm keeping mine for now. It's been a whirlwind 3-4 days here. I've done a lot of thinking and reflecting and all this kind of stuff. And I think there's actually more to the story than obviously we know of. I don't know if it was complete ignorance or if there's something a little bit more nefarious to it. And I also don't know how much that matters. Because this device here, it's completely offline. It doesn't connect to any networks. If you use the dice, you're pretty much bypassing the random number generator that was the problem with COLDCARDs. And so I'm still kind of figuring out where to go from here for my, my longer term final setup. But I feel more than comfortable with it right now. I used the dice yesterday. I set up some really strong passphrases with it using some playing cards and stuff like that. It was actually a pretty fun day for me, as stressful as it was. But yeah, I think that I'll never buy another cold card. I'll never recommend anybody buy a cold card. I think that's kind of the general consensus, but it still works. Kind of what Robin mentioned there it's a signing device. It's not your wallet. That's not where, a lot of people, even with have had a cold card for years, they don't really know what the purpose of it is. They bought it because somebody told them to. They watched a tutorial, half an hour how to do it. They set it up, everything worked, and they put it in their safe for 5 years. And that's kind of like it's you have to be more responsible than that. And again, it's easy for me to sit up here because this is my whole life and talk about this stuff and say you should do this and you should do that. But it's true. Like, I mean, if you're serious about this, you have to take it seriously. I don't think there's a half-ass self-custody anymore. It's like you're doing it and you're doing it right, or you're leaving it on an exchange, or you're buying an ETF. There's just no in between anymore. And I think that's kind of where we are right now, is like the floor of security now. For me to recommend anybody gets into self-custody, you got to do at least 100 dice rolls. You got to get 24 words, and you have to have a strong passphrase. And if you're not willing to do that, then you should not be taking self-custody of your Bitcoin. It's really that simple. And I don't really know what the tools and everything looks like in years from now, but in its current environment, that's the new baseline for me. And if you don't want to do that, then just slowly make your way over from an exchange to that. But you have to understand that that's kind of like the bare minimum with all this AI shit and uncertainty. You just have to be more safe than sorry right now. And that's kind of where I'm at.
I love that. And because it's like, I think it goes back to personal responsibility. If you take self-custody, you have to know that you are the IT security chief of your own holdings. You are replacing a bank, a custodian, which they are responsible at that moment for securing your Bitcoin. And then you replacing them with your own security system. And if you think about a bank, they have a vault, they have cameras, they have security staff, they have all of those things. You're replacing that in the digital world. You're replacing that with your own security system. So you have to think about, what is the single point of failure? What can go wrong? And that's what I always say to people of like, if you see your self-custody setup, ask yourself a couple of questions. First question, would you feel comfortable holding it in that wallet, in that setup, if the Bitcoin value 20x from here? Like if it's not 100K, if it's 2 million, would you still be comfortable holding those Bitcoin in that? That's the first question. Second question is, have you gone through every situation that could potentially go wrong? Of like, if I lose that, what happens? If I lose that, what happens? If that does not work, what happens? If I cannot call this person, what happens? Like, have you gone through all the things that could go wrong? And then the third question that I always ask, what are the attack vectors? If you think about how would you steal your own coins, how would you do that? What are the possible ways to get to your coins? And if you ask those 3 questions and like 100 other ones that you could potentially derive from that and go in there, you have a way better setup. And you have to ask yourself that question. A lot of people are way too lazy with the self-custody setup. I've seen even friends of mine that like know self-custody, I into self-custody. I'm like, oh, you do it that way? Gosh, like do it better. Like go nuts, like research deeply, like actually like think about what you're doing here, because it's very important. It's people don't see it as a full-time job, but it is one, being a self-custody Bitcoin holder.
Yeah, Bitcoin's hard, man. It's very, 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 very hard to be a Bitcoiner. First of all, to get into Bitcoin, you have to just completely unlearn everything you learned your whole life. Then you have to be a financial expert. You got to be a political expert. You got to be an economic expert. You got to know all these different things that Bitcoin teaches you. And then you have to be a self-sovereign person. And you have to be, like Robin said, you have to be your own bank. And to be your own bank, again, think about what a bank does with your money, right? Think about all the layers they have of protection. We don't have all the things that a bank does, right? We're only one person. So
and they're securing thin air.
Exactly. And we are securing as one individual person in charge of our family, because normally your spouse or whoever else is in your family that are not into Bitcoin are not doing it. It's all up to you. You know, when you're talking about spending thousands of dollars of your own money, when you're thinking, oh man, I can buy sats with this or whatever, like Joe always says, you gotta put, what is it, 5% into, at least 5% of your stack into that security. And like Rajat said, you got to be paranoid and kind of crazy a little bit to do what we're doing, because again, great power comes great responsibility, and it's a lot of responsibility, man. When you're the person that is head of not just your immediate family, but generational wealth, generations in the future, that's a lot, man. That's a lot. So again, we are the kind of like founding fathers of this. And will things be built on top of it? Sure, but we're so early. And again, the main thing I take away from this is, at the base layer, Bitcoin has not changed. There's layers above it that have broken. Again, FTX and this thing situation going on here. But right now we are so freaking early, man. But I remember when I was into Bitcoin when FTX crashed in 2022, and I'm about almost 2 years into it, and I was a little bit worried at the time. You know what I mean? But this time I wasn't worried for Bitcoin at the base layer. I was worried about my money and people losing it. But at the same time, when you see the price didn't drop, and when you look at the mainstream media, nobody was talking about it, just in our little circle, that gives me hope. You know what I mean? But again, being a Bitcoiner and being where you're at today, of course, being early and where we're at on the timeline, it is very difficult to do this. So you got to know that, man, and you got to make sure you put in the work and have the fortitude to do it.
I have only one correction, or like one disagreement here. I think the founding fathers, I don't know if you meant that, but the founding fathers of Bitcoin are for me like Hal Finney, like Satoshi Nakamoto, like the first 10, 20 people that like ran a node, like did the mining thing and all of that thing. So I wouldn't
Agreed.
I wouldn't categorize myself as a founding father. I was way too late to the game, coming into Bitcoin in like 2020. I wish I would have discovered it earlier. But for me, it wouldn't actually made a difference because I was so young. I didn't have any money back then, so I couldn't even bought any Bitcoin because I just like didn't have access to a bank account even. But yeah, like it's super important to take responsibility. So I now actually recommend people do self-custody, but do it right. And until you did it right, until you figure it out, only allocate a small portion of your Bitcoin there, like enough that you would like feel it if you lose it, but not enough that it ruins your life, because you have to develop this custody setup. You have to keep on working on it. It's not a one-day job. So if you're one that has Bitcoin exchange on an ETF or like whatever you're doing, go slow from there. Don't rush into anything. Take it step by step. Push, like slowly build up your self-custody setup. That's it's so likely that you lose your Bitcoin because of a user error, because of something you did wrong, because you did it too quick, you didn't think about something, or you didn't know about something. And so take your time with that and research deeply, because it's a big responsibility.
Yep, 100%. Rajat, I was just going to say, like, between Rajat, Forrest, and myself, we put together a course. I think it was like 12 parts, talking about self-custody and passphrases and where to keep the private keys and where to keep the PIN codes and all this stuff. And it was probably like 12 hours worth of content between the three of us talking about this. And, a lot of people think that, again, they buy the cold card because somebody told them to. They spent some money on it. They think that that's kind of like their contribution because they spent $300 on it, that's kind of it. But watching a 30-minute video on how to set it up and how to send a transaction, it's not sufficient. It's about 1/1000th of what you need to do. And I've heard other Bitcoiners say, if you can drive a car, you can take self-custody. And I do think that that's right. Except the difference is people set up their self-custody and then they don't think about it for the next 5 years. So it'd be like similar to like going for a driver's instruction or a test and then parking your car for 5 years and then getting back into the car and hitting the highway with it. Like, I see the similarity because both take a lot of work, but when people learn to drive and they get their driver's license, they're driving the next day and the next day and the next day and forever. Oh, you're muted, Robin.
Oh, like that. Sorry. This is a very important point because I don't know how easy it is in Canada or America to get a driver license. I heard it's easier. But in Austria, it's a big thing to get the driver license. You have to go through all those courses. You have to drive around for a very long time. You have to do like 1,000 kilometers of driving. If you want to have the driver license earlier with 17 already, you have to do, I think, 3,000 kilometers of driving. So I've spent probably, I don't know, 100 hour, a little bit more than that to get my driver license for the car. That's why I like the analogy of like car and self-custody, because we've spent a lot of time figuring out how to drive the car. And then you said exactly. We keep on driving that car. We keep on going for intersections, braking, accelerating, all of those things, even though car driving actually gets easier and easier with every car that gets better and better in the market. Self-custody is still in the very early phases of like driving a car like 100 years ago. And so I love that analogy. If we accept that you have to get also your self-custody driver license, your self-custody certificate, we should do something like that. We should make a self-custody certificate. Like if you go through that journey, if you go through that, like you're good to go. You can go do self-custody.
Well, it's out there. I mean, like I said, this is a course that we have on our school that Rajat Forrest and I did. It's just we don't give a certificate for it. It's like Bitcoin. You got to just do it because you're protecting yourself, right? It's all about personal responsibility. You're not going to get a pay increase or a better job because of it, but you're going to keep your Bitcoin safe. And the last thing I'd say there, Robin, kind of going off of what you said there, is I used to recommend people kind of invest into Bitcoin based on their knowledge. So if they had like a 5 out of 100 in terms of their knowledge, that's what I would recommend them allocate of their portfolio, like 5%. But I changed that because I do think that you should have a lot of price exposure to Bitcoin. But what I changed is like, it should be based on your knowledge level. So if you had 10% knowledge level, you should only take self-custody of 10% of your stack. So your stack should match your knowledge level in that sense. And then the cool thing is like, as you drive more, as you practice and have more experience, then you slowly move out of the exchanges and more into your self-custody. As your experience, as your comfort level grows, you kind of match your self-custody holdings with that. And I think that that's the best approach to take still to this day. What's up, Lou?
What's going on, guys? It's been a crazy week/weekend. Jor, Rajat, Jerry, Robin. Hope everybody's well. What's going on, chat? If I'm being honest, I've learned what entropy is, what 128 bits is, what 256 bits is, what quantum is, what AI really is, what LLMs are. That I've learned so much, and it was a true wake-up call in my life, really, with my setup. But to be honest with you, I really love my setup. I still love my single sig. I'm in an exchange right now fully. I would advise against that, but to be honest, it was it was out of pure verification, to be honest. I really wanted to see what the manufacturers were going to do. A lot of manufacturers, Ledger, I wanted to see what they were going to do. Let me back up real quick. The reason why I'm saying all of this is because I would consider myself a normie when it comes to cold storage. Like, I would consider myself a normie in the sense of when I was being onboarded, I was, given the ledger, I was given the treasure. I wasn't given COLDCARD. I wasn't given that hardcore Bitcoiner stuff. I was given mostly the mainstream, to a degree, the Main Street, cold wallets. And maybe some of you guys might disagree with that. So, I did my research on 24, 12-word seed phrase, and I did, metal steals. This is how you hide it. This is how you do all these things. And it was cool. It was hard, really. Like it wasn't hard. It was more like, what's the word I'm looking for? It it was scary, right? It was nerve wracking. Like, yo, you got to move your stuff to cold storage. You got to make sure the Bitcoin gets there. You got to make sure, you got to verify this address. And then, you know, I thought I was good, thought I was great. And I still think I'm good, you know, but when you look at what happened, that shit fucked with me, bro. Like, it fucked with me for like, it's still fucking with me. Excuse my language, but it just like, it's messing with the way I view third parties, right? Because at the end of the day, shout out to Rajat. He opened my eyes up when it came to, you know, dice rolls. The fact that he's sticking with his dice rolls, and he's like, yo, you know, I did it this way. I didn't trust, you know, I didn't trust the device to give me, you know, the entropy or the bytes, the bits, excuse me. I did it myself. I did 100, or I did, you know, that would be equivalent to 256 bits, which would take the, you know, I don't even know how many, the years of the universe to figure out. So especially with the quantum threat. So anyways, I'm going to close out with saying this. It's been a crazy week, but I've ordered every wallet possible. I've spent a lot of money really trying to learn. I've asked every question possible to Grok, ChatGPT, and every AI possible. And, you know, I'm managing risk. I am, you know, really making the decisions, obviously privately, on what I'm going to do next. But man, this shit was scary, bro. Like, it was scary. It was a scary thing. I'm heartbroken really for the stories. I hope they're real, by the way, because a lot of these stories, they do seem LARPy. But there's a few that seem real, as far as, you know, testimonies of people that lost their Bitcoin. And, you know, I came on, Rajat and Forrest helped me out a lot. You know, they answered a lot of questions on live. So you guys are the most important people, right? You guys are the ones that, you know, are really going to lead the pack. And you guys have led the pack on information, going live, emergency lives, answering questions, you know, like, and all of this, what's crazy about this is the last thing I'll say again. We was on our chat, right? We have a chat, and we were talking single sig shit like a week ago, 2 weeks ago, before any of this shit happened. So I don't know. I think it's crazy. But yes, I am taking every precaution possible personally, and I hope everybody else too. I hit you guys with a lot. I'm sorry.
I actually thought I saw something interesting. Really great points there, Lou. I saw something interesting recently. Did you guys see somebody asked about a retirement bug or something like that, and then COLDCARD answered. They were like, it's when a manufacturer intentionally puts a bug in their device and then they wipe out the. Did you guys see that by any chance?
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty crazy. I thought that was wild because.
Wait, can you say that one more time?
So I'll try to find the post, but essentially they said how if here I found it. Let me share it with you guys. Give me 1 second. This is actually pretty cool because I'm not cool, but like, you get what I'm saying. Like, this is really interesting because it just kind of changes the story a little bit. Let me know if you guys see it. Oh, there it is. Okay, so it says here, COLDCARD makes retirement attacks impossible. Generate your own entropy and reproduce it provably. And then they talked about dice rolls. And then somebody said, "What's a retirement attack?" And then COLDCARD's answer was, I mean, maybe this means nothing, right? But it says it's when project makers could have a bug in the entropy generation for later retrieval.
Jesus
what are
Christ.
the chances of that? What are the chances of that? That's pretty crazy.
Wow. I mean, you could look at that both ways. They're telling you to roll dice.
That's true.
Even like when you turn on your COLDCARD and it says "Don't trust, verify," that you could also look at that and interpret that as like, "Don't trust us, verify that this has all been done the right way." I don't know. Or you could look at it from a nefarious way and say, you know, maybe they were telling you what they were going to do beforehand. I don't know. I personally, I don't know, man. I've gone back and forth on this so many times in my head in the last 3 or 4 days here. But to me, I think if COLDCARD were nefarious in this whole thing, I think a lot more Bitcoin would have been taken. And I think much more would have been affected than just like a MK2, MK3. I think if they really wanted to mix things up here and screw with Bitcoiners, I think that it would have been much more wide ranging. So that's kind of where I lean. I still have lost all trust with NVK and CoinKite and all that stuff. But I don't know, man. I'm having a hard time believing that this was like a nefarious thing.
Wait, you said you would still trust him specifically? Yeah, no, fuck that guy. No, fuck all of them. Really. No, at the end of the day, like that's really the attitude. Another thing I would say, as far as dice rolls, I'm not against it, but if you're gonna onboard millions and millions of people, it's just I'm not gonna do it. I don't want to do dice rolls. Now, no, I should probably, but I don't want to. Right? Like I really don't. Like I don't want to sit there fucking rolling dice 100 times. I really don't want to do that. But I also don't want to leave it in the exchange. So there's going to be work that needs to be put in.
Yeah.
But it just sucks. I'm gonna be very honest with you. It really does suck that I would have to do that. I would love to trust, Treasure is doing the right thing. And from what I've studied, it's MVK is that, if that's his name, or Cold Card as a whole, was a fork. Was a fork from Treasure, if I'm not mistaken. And then they got, greedy with whatever they were doing. But Treasure seems to be the original, man. Treasure was like the original seed phrase, if I'm not mistaken. Why the fuck are we going anywhere else, bro? Stay home. Where are we going? Anyway, this is what happens when you dig too deep into the origins of these hardware and cold storage, especially with the wallets.
I thought a lot about the future of self-custody, not just because of this incident, but like for a long time, because I see how many people in the mainstream understand Bitcoin. It's a very small amount. And of those that have exposure, direct or indirect, to Bitcoin, how many of those actually understand self-custody? It's also like a very small amount, like again, like almost zero, it seems like it. And so it's like, how will self-custody look in the future? Because as you said, Lou, we have like this dice rolling, we have multi-sig, multi-vendor. It's not easy. It's like you need a course, you need some education to get in there. But there is a word that I don't like, but there's a spectrum of self-custody. So there's not just like I either have self-custody or not. There's like a spectrum of how much do you do self-custody. The left side of the spectrum might be an exchange or an ETF where you don't have any control over your keys, and the right side is of like you don't trust any device, you do it everything by yourself, you roll your dice, you do it on hard metal plates, you don't even trust your seed signers too much, you just use it like a seed signer, something like that. And so like there's like, between those two extremes, there are a lot of different options in there. There's also collaborative custody. There's different options. There's different variants of collaborative custody. There's like a BitKey. There's Casa. There's Unchained. There is like so many different providers that have different flavors of self-custody, if you so will, or like a different spectrum of how far you want to go into the freedom and sovereignty aspect of Bitcoin in self-custody. So I think the future of self-custody, as you kind of hinted at, will be very different for a lot of different people. So there will be the paranoid anarchists like us, or like at least I count myself in there, that go all the way, like look at all the different angles and how to set it up and how to be best protected. And then there will be the people that might just take collaborative custody or like take some other things. And then there will be the people that like say, I don't care about custody, like I'll just leave it on exchange, use an ETF or something like that, or some other wrapper. So I think it will be very different for people.
I was just gonna say,
at this point.
I was
gonna say, at this point, like I'm not trusting any random number generator on any device ever again. No, I have my dice right here. I will roll these. If it takes me 10 hours to do it, I will do it. I don't care.
Exactly.
I'm not losing my Bitcoin. Like this, if that's one thing that I need to do to make sure that nobody can get my Bitcoin, and keep in mind, like this is the one thing that protects you against literally everybody on earth. Every computer that will ever exist, this is the one thing that will protect you against it. Take the 15 minutes, man. Just do it.
Well, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this, Rajat. I saw one of your posts. You said you're going to stick with your cold card because of the dice roll. How much flack are you getting for that? Like, what's the response?
So much. I'm getting so much shit for that, but I don't care. That's.
But,
I understand.
But
what
it
the
makes
issue
sense,
was,
Rajat.
right? It makes sense, right?
Like what you're saying makes sense.
If you look at the comments, people are like, "Oh, you're so retarded. You're so stupid.
Yeah, I saw some
gone into your
comments.
brain. Like you're so dumb," and they're just like shitting on me. But I don't really care because I understand the issue. Sorry, go ahead, Lou.
No. I was just no. You answered it. I was just because I saw when you said, but I know why you said that after doing the research. I know why you're saying it, because you
Yeah.
literally you did not use the random number generator that they use. Like you didn't use, you don't have
Yes.
40 bits of entropy. You have 256. Well,
Yes.
I'm not counting how many times you, but you know, if you did even 50, that's 128 bits of entropy versus 256, which would be 100 dice rolls. But you know, I think a lot of people, they're just like you said, it's like the FUD is unbelievable right now. Like
Yep.
I'm talking about,
It's
like it's
fear.
on another level,
That's
especially
it.
from
It's
people that
fear.
don't even they don't even want to understand the issue or what happened. I mean, I usually really hate even looking into stuff like this because I'm busy and I don't even want to think about my wallet. I don't want to think about anything. But obviously, this forces you to. But then to understand the issue is something that a lot of people don't even want to do. Like they don't want to understand the issue or what happened. So kudos to you, bro, because you did it the right way, literally. And people getting mad or calling you retarded, I think that's a stupid.
Yeah.
I think they're retarded because they don't even probably understand the issue or what even happened in the first place.
I want to show you guys something. I share my screen. This is the post that I put up. So I said I plan to continue using it. I just said the stuff and I explained it. And somebody said here, still update your MK4 and get a new seed phrase from it. No, like you're doing
So
the exact same
stupid.
thing again. Why would I like you have your cold card. You already have the issue. The issue already happened. Why let it happen again? Why would I generate a new seed phrase for my cold card by updating? How do I know that the changes that I don't know how to
You-
read code?
You're trusting them again.
Right. Exactly. Like you're just doing it again. And like this is the kind of stuff that people say, right? Like there's so many crazy comments. Oh, not smart. Soon they will be out of business. It doesn't matter. If they go out of business, I can move my seed phrase to another wallet. I can get another wallet at some point. Like you can see all these comments here. Somebody said, not that one. There was one where this guy was just like, oh, you're so retarded. Double check it. Okay, that one was good. Those I think I muted them.
Yeah,
Like there's so
I
many
mean,
of them. Like they just keep, even this. Like, how can you support this manufacturer? I already spent the money. I'm not spending more money to get another wallet. Why would I get more? I already have the security. The security works. I've been checking my wallet. Like I've been still paranoid. I've still been a little worried. I've been thinking like, okay, I did everything right, but I want to make sure I don't lose my big. I've just been checking here and there, and it's almost like a bounty for me. It's like, okay, if somebody figures it out, then I'll make this aware. I'll make everybody aware of it. Right? I'll tell everybody about it. And
A bounty.
that- but for me, I'm okay with it because I'm confident in what I did. Right? I'm confident in what I did. I know that I did it right, and I'm gonna if somebody can get to my Bitcoin, that just means that I need to secure my stuff even more, right? To me, that's how I
Rashad
think of
is
it, right?
running a bug bounty program for us.
Right, and I'm not even getting like paid for it or anything like that. But like that's the thing, right? But this is a problem. Like people don't understand. They're acting out of emotion, and they're making even more mistakes. I don't know if you guys saw, but somebody had a cold card MK4 with a passphrase, a really strong passphrase, and they sent their Bitcoin to a fake Wasabi wallet. They had 6 Bitcoin
Oh my
that
God. You're kidding.
because
No
they
way.
did it out of panic, right? They did it because they were fearful, and that's how they lost 6 Bitcoin. Otherwise, they wouldn't have lost 6 Bitcoin.
6
I think that's-
Bitcoin, bro. That is insane. Like
Insane.
I that oh my God. I was just thinking, like, you know, because like I told you guys, I'm just gonna admit it because I don't have that anymore. But bro, I had all my Bitcoin in one single sig treasure, and you know, I had it there for literally like almost 6 months now, and I had no problems or whatever. But I just when I refreshed it after everything was happening, I was like, what if it's not there? And to me, that was people's like, that's what happened to people. Like that,
Yeah.
to me, that shit is a nightmare, man. That is heartbreaking. Like, I can't even imagine. There was a guy who I watch on YouTube, Oscar Velez, I think that's
Oh
his
yeah,
name.
Oliver Velez.
Oliver
Oliver
Velez.
Velez. Okay,
OV.
yeah. I saw him. He was talking on a Spaces. I've seen him on YouTube before, and that I don't know. That's just like that's mind fucking. It just messes you up like mentally, like just to know that you can like, you know, like self custody, man. Like that's the whole goal. Like you don't touch it, you don't even worry about it. You hide everything, and then boom, boom. But I don't
There's
know.
a lot to know, man. There's a lot to know. And that's the whole thing here, right? Is like the more sovereign you want to be with it and the more secure you want to be with it, the more time you have to put into it. It's a direct correlation. You can't just do something, set it up, and then not think about it for 5 years and expect that everything's going to be good. It's not. You might get lucky, right? You might get lucky.
But there's some though. There's some that have been like, there's some people that were coming out with their testimonies. They've been using a certain device. I forgot what it was I saw, but he was like, been using it for like 10 years and everything. I haven't been betrayed. There's stuff like that too. But I think you're right. I think the upkeep is a real thing. Like you have to, I don't know, man. I don't know what to say. Multi-sig is the number one thing, that I've seen.
Multi-sig is the goal. That's
is that the goal? Is that where you guys are firm at right now? I'm not really there. I'm not really there. I'm not excited.
Don't do it yet, Lou. That's the whole thing. Like if you're not there yet,
like I'm just not excited for it. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of people that they're running to it, but I don't know.
But that's the thing, right? The things that you should be doing, they're not going to be exciting. They're going to be very boring. Like going to the gym, for example. You're going to keep doing the same thing over and over again. You're going to have to keep going. Like eventually you're going to be like, oh, why do I keep doing this? But you know that it's good for your body, right? Even like investing in Bitcoin, it's very boring. If you just dollar cost average, it's so boring, but it's right for you, right? And like another way that I like to think of this is
I love DCA, and I don't know, that boring.
That's the thing, right? Because you keep seeing like with Bitcoin, it adds some excitement because you see your portfolio growing. But like another way that I think of it is when I used to work at Walmart, we'd have to do like continuing education courses, modules like every few months. If I had to do that for Walmart, and I was making $10.90 per hour, how do you expect that you're not going to have to do that when you're using this device to protect your generational wealth? Like you're planning to keep this with you, and it's going to be worth millions of dollars in a few years. How do you expect that in 30 years you're not going to have to learn? You'll have to continue to learn like forever. There's no stopping. You keep learning forever.
If you want the full sovereignty.
I'm curious, Lou, like what's holding you off of multisig? Like what is your like concern or like your like holdback?
Oh, that has multisig, but even that can you generate your own seed?
No.
You don't generate your own seed on that.
Not yet.
I don't like this. I don't love this at all. Like I don't love any of it.
Yeah, you're still reliant on
this one just came in. It's like a Bitcoin only treasure. I got a ledger coming in. I got all these things. I'm just gonna sit and meditate and let just be led to see what it is that I really want to do. But again, like I really fell in love with my single sig, no passphrase. I was raw dogging my whole like experience, bro. Like I just, you meet a girl and you just have sex with her raw, and then that's it. You just kind of don't even go to the hospital, go get checked out. That's what happened to me, bro. And now I'm like, damn, man, everybody's catching shit. Like everybody's catching STD around here. I gotta get out. I gotta go get checked out.
Oh my God.
What an example, but still,
it's true. That's actually a really good example. Oh man.
Like you just start hearing
somebody's got to clip
virus.
that.
Like, oh my God, there's a new virus going around, man. I hope I didn't catch this shit, man.
Oh my God.
Except at least for that, you can get some pills.
She looked clean though. She looked like a clean girl.
That's the cold card. It looked clean. It looked secure.
Yo, who I feel?
It did everything it could to look secure, but it wasn't.
Yeah. You know who I feel sorry for? The people that really, really trusted COLDCARD, the people that had multi-sig COLDCARD. So had all three different devices and all spread out. And then they had to figure out how to get to over here and over there and over there and didn't roll the dice.
Was that what Velez guy? That's what he said happened to him, right? He had like he had shit in different countries or something like that. Like it was just like a wild situation.
No, I think that was his main stack, Lou.
Okay.
But his side,
a deep freeze, like a deep freeze.
Yeah, that is like 90-something%. But his side wallet that he just had to spend and stuff like that got so big, it was only a single sig, and he didn't, do what he had to do. And now again, to him it wasn't a lot, but he lost a lot of Bitcoin.
No, to him it wasn't, but I'm sure that was like way more than whatever I have. I know that. Like I could tell by the way he was talking. I'm like, oh man, this dude lost. Oh man, that's so sick.
Yeah. That guy's a G. Like he's been doing education for like 40 years. He's been like the best trader on Wall Street for decades now. And like, oh man,
when I first heard this,
go ahead.
Sorry, when I first heard this story and I heard that he got his taken, I was thinking, are they going for the big wallets first, or are they going for the low hanging fruit first, or both?
I think both.
Probably
It
just
doesn't
the
sound
easy.
like a very sophisticated attack from what I've seen and heard.
It's not
I
an
think
easy
what they're doing
attack.
is they're just finding they're getting the
Yeah.
easiest to break wallets. They're going through those, and then they're going through the more difficult ones. So more recently, I think it was BTC Sessions that said it, but there was MK3 with a 2-word passphrase that was broken into.
And there's people that say like, oh, like there's just a guy with like AI or like AI broke in. It needed a sophisticated guy or group that actually did that with the help of AI. But like it's not like someone was just like, hey Claude, can you hack COLDCARD? And like it prompted something and like you did it. It was not as easy. You had to actually spend some time to do that. It was not as trivial as some might people think.
Even for me, like I learned so much from this because I used to think, oh, a passphrase can just be like somebody's name, but it can't be. It has to be like randomly generated. It has to have spaces in it. It has to have characters in it. It's like, wow, that like I never even expected somebody to be able to find my seed phrase in the first place. But now they're finding the seed phrase and they're breaking into the password. Oh my god, this is scary. Like
Hey,
at this point, if
Hey.
you're not rolling dice, you're just like you're screwing yourself over.
hey, I'm having a lot of fun reading these comments, man. Like, there's a certain K. How you say that? Kachak. He says there's a certain thrill in knowing you could lose your entire savings.
It's true.
All right, guys, I gotta go.
Bro,
That was a really great chat.
Rajat, we love you, bro. Oh my god.
Later, guys.
There's a
guys.
certain thrill in like just knowing that it could happen. Like it's like that's like
It's true.
I just think that is so like maybe that's what I was doing. Maybe I was having fun in that. Maybe that's why I was raw dog and single sig. I was like, this is
Living on the edge.
living on the edge, bro. Like,
All right, later, guys.
all right, brother.
See you,
There's a
Rajat.
sex comparison right there that I will not make.
That was something I was not expecting. But you know what's crazy that where we're at on the timeline right now? That was funny as shit, Lou. You know what's crazy about this timeline? We're stuck between a rock and a hard place right now. That's how I feel, right? It's like, okay, should I just move it all to Robinhood or Coinbase and all that and be quote unquote safe? But then go against everything that we learned about not your keys, not your coin. Or I should say, oh, let me go back to another one, trust another one. But you got to roll the dice.
I want to show you something, Jerry. I think it makes it more clear. We've lost a lot. I don't know, 1,300, 1,500. I don't know what's the current stand is on like how many Bitcoin got lost on COLDCARD. There has been, I think, 1.5 million Bitcoin lost from third-party exchanges, from like Celsius, Mt. Gox, FTX, BlockFi, and all of those things. And I think that's just the big ones. I think there are like a lot of smaller ones that are additionally to them. I think that's just like the cream top of them. So if you think about the scale of losing 1,300 Bitcoin, even though it hits so hard because it hits the people that are closest and in the heart of our community. And it's not the people that are putting their Bitcoin in Celsius. If someone lost a Bitcoin with Celsius, I don't have any empathy with them. And I'm myself one that lost Bitcoin on Celsius, by the way. But this is something like you were not in the heart of the Bitcoin community, which is different now. And so I think that's why it hits hard. But it's actually, on the scale of it, a smaller event of people losing their Bitcoin.
I love that. Did you guys see that video from what's that channel called? I got it pulled up here from Bitcoin Policy Institute, where they showed the actual visual of what happened. That was dope,
I saw that.
man.
Yeah, that was.
I didn't realize the scale of that, man. That was crazy. I don't know if we can watch it, but
Yeah, you should find it so we can watch it.
I got it right here. I got it up right here.
Yeah, okay, how long is it?
It's 3 minutes.
Yeah, it was a 3-minute video. I remember somebody showed it on their channel. Actually, I think it was the BTC Sessions guys that showed it. But that video, somebody said that video was good.
If you want to, Rob.
Play it. I mean, it was up to Robin. I think you should play it.
Of course, like let's see the video.
Okay. Let's see.
A Bitcoin wallet is protected by a seed phrase, a list of words that acts like the master key to the wallet. If someone discovers that phrase, they can take control of the Bitcoin inside. So what stops an attacker from simply guessing it? The answer is the number of possible seed phrases. A properly configured Bitcoin wallet chooses its seed from an incomprehensibly enormous pool. The larger and less predictable that pool is, the harder it is for an attacker to search. This is where randomness matters. The wallet needs a reliable source of randomness so that no one can predict which seed it will choose. But in affected COLDCARD firmware, a bug caused the wallet to use a more predictable software generator. The seed phrases still looked random to their owners, but they were being selected from a much smaller set of possibilities. To understand how much smaller, let's turn those possibilities into something we can compare. We will let one atom represent one potential Bitcoin seed phrase. Somewhere in the full collection is one key atom, the seed that unlocks the wallet. We begin with a single atom, representing a single possible seed. Now zoom out to a protein. A protein contains about 2 to the power of 10 atoms. If this were the entire pool, a computer could test every possibility and find the key atom almost instantly. Zoom out again to a large virus, containing about 2 to the power of 30 atoms. In our simplified model, every potential Bitcoin seed phrase created by the affected COLDCARD firmware fits inside this virus as atoms. A computer could search that full set in about 3 hours. That may sound enormous, but how does it compare with the search pool of a correctly generated 24-word Bitcoin seed phrase? Would it fill a grain of sand? A grain contains about 2 to the power of 60 atoms, not even close. What about Jupiter? At roughly 2 to the power of 180 atoms, it is still nowhere near large enough. The entire Milky Way contains roughly 2 to the power of 225 atoms. Surely that must be enough. Not quite. A properly generated seed has 2 to the power of 256 possibilities. To represent every one of those possibilities with an atom, we would need about 2 billion galaxies the size of the Milky Way. To hack a properly configured Bitcoin wallet, an attacker would need to find one specific atom hidden somewhere across those 2 billion galaxies. That is the scale of the COLDCARD bug. It reduced the challenge from finding one atom across 2 billion galaxies to finding one atom inside a large virus.
Wow.
That's a really nice video.
Yo,
Like,
that
that's the
needs
best
to be
one.
everywhere. This video. Can you send me the link to that, Jerry, please?
I got you, bro.
Somebody says space is fake. Oh my god, dude, we don't have time for this bullshit right now in the comments.
You always have
we
those
got work to
people
do.
that you always have those people in the comment section. No matter what you talk
Come on,
about,
flat
you
smack.
have
We don't
that.
got time for that, bro. Chill out, man. Everybody knows it was an inside job. Well, whatever it was, it doesn't matter right now. What matters right now is your Bitcoin stack safe or not? You worry about that stuff another time. Somebody said Globetar. He said, bro, man. If you think space is fake, you probably thought Miami Mall aliens were real. I love the people in the chat.
Yeah, I'm a bit of a tinfoil hat guy myself. With the Bitcoin or the Clarity Act coming out and the BIP 110 stuff coming out, and also I seen a video from Mechanic basically saying that, and I was thinking this before he said it, that it was just real bad timing that this happened, and also he's saying that the Bitcoin is unspendable, the Bitcoin that's quote unquote stolen. And again, the Clarity Act on the 7th or the 8th, and then the BIP 110 on the 8th. I don't know, man. It's just
Yeah, the
seems like
timing is definitely the timing. I mean, I saw the guy from Bitcoin University. He like a YouTube channel. He went viral on X, if I'm not mistaken, for saying that it might be an inside job. It might be. I mean, I don't see how anybody could say it could not be. There's a chance, but there's a 40-bit entropy chance that it was an inside job. I hope you guys got that joke.
oh my god, that's gonna be the new jokes now.
There is a chance that
Well, one in a virus chance.
there is a
One in
bug
an atom.
chance.
One in an atom.
But no, that video, back to that video, I do think that video is important because it does show you when it's done right, it is close to impossible.
Well, that's why you got to roll the dice, Lou.
Nah, I'm trusting Treasure, bro. I'm just trusting Treasure. And if Treasure fucks me, I see those guys at the Bitcoin conference, bro. They better not have a booth at the Bitcoin conference. I'm beating the shit out of all of them.
You should do the dice rolls, man. It was actually a fun thing to go through. It really was. I just felt like more of a I don't know, man, just like more of a Bitcoiner and just like understanding how it all works and like the entropy and the reason why you want entropy. like my Bitcoin, I think would have been safe. I had passphrases on all my wallets and the rest was in a multi-sig. I think mine would have been safe. I just didn't want to risk it. But going through the exercise of like rolling the dice 100 times, verifying it, making sure that everything's like good to go, doing it again. I use playing cards to generate my passphrases. Like I know the average person isn't going to do this, but the average person isn't going to have as much to secure as I do or that you do. And, you know, that's just the reality of things. Most people won't even know that they're using Bitcoin in 20 years from now. They'll just be spending money. And yeah, I mean, honestly, this is the first thing I thought of when I heard about this. I'm like, there's going to be so many people who tell the tax authorities or whoever that they were part of this hack. Like, how do you really prove that you weren't? You know what I mean? Like,
Because of
Oh,
the
I was
fact that
definitely
they don't-
hacked. I
they
was
don't
hacked
use-
for sure.
They don't use user data, right? That's what it was. That they just didn't keep that, so it would be harder to. I mean, but
to prove either way.
yeah, to prove. Yeah, it's a tough situation, man. It's fucking horrifying.
I want you guys to think about something. Let's stretch it out long term, right? Because we're in the bubble of Bitcoin, and also we're thinking on our timeline. Listen, I say this all the time. 95% of people are not going to save in Bitcoin. Okay, I think a small percentage are going to save in Bitcoin.
Oh, definitely
Number
not
one.
now.
Yeah.
Shit.
So let's take the I don't know how many people are going to save in Bitcoin, right? They're going to be quote unquote early before we hit $1 million or 10 million bucks or whatever early is, right? Now you take that subset of people and kind of play it out and say, okay, well, how many of those people are going to roll the dice? Only a small percentage of them. Only a small percentage. So again, Bitcoin is good for the people that are not into Bitcoin because they can work for it and save in it later on, right? And everything's going to go down in price and they're going to get less Bitcoin and less Satoshis and everything's going to go down in price. But for the people that are quote unquote early like us, we're the ones that are going to say, oh my God, we're going to be rich and living on a hill with Lou in New York City and all this stuff, right? But the thing is, the people that are not rolling the dice, that understand that rolling the dice is important, Lou, they don't want to take a few minutes. Again, we're asking.
Trezor just doesn't have it. They don't have that option, and that's the only company that I look for 6 months. I had my entire life savings with these people. I'm not taking that for granted. It's going to be hard for me to do that again with another wallet. I'm gonna be honest with you, especially after this happened. So I already have a foundation with these people. I talked to the guy, the CFO. Like I've spoken to these people. So if they fuck me, I'm going to beat the shit out of one of them at a Bitcoin conference, bro. I'm going to the Bitcoin conference and I'm going to beat the shit out of one of these people, bro. So at least there's a face to it. This NBK guy and all of this stuff, I just don't think he's going to show up at a Bitcoin conference. You know what I mean? But all jokes aside, I do agree with you, Jerry. But at the end of the day, you have to think about it this way. A lot of people, and I do agree, you have to roll the dice. All jokes aside, like I think that's the right thing to do. And also, what a lot of people are going to come to understand is like, yeah, if you hold it in Robinhood or if you hold it on Coinbase, if you hold it on an exchange, if you hold it on Strike, you're trusting Jack Mallers to have his multi-sig. You're trusting these people to have rolled the dice. Yep. So at the end of the day, no matter what, they're custodying your Bitcoin, but they have to take those necessary steps you would have had to take for yourself. So at the end of the day, like no matter where, like if you do an ETF and you're playing these fiat games with the ETF and you're going up, then none of that Bitcoin is yours. That shit belongs to BlackRock. They're not going to go and be like, oh, here's your paper Bitcoin and here's the real Bitcoin. Like, no, at the end of the day, none of it. So no matter what people do, they're trusting someone at the end of the day. So I'd rather just bet on myself. And a lot of people bet it on themselves. And unfortunately, they got behind it, except for Rajat, because his IQ level is really high. He was rolling dice at a passphrase, roll the dice. And so that's what happened, man. But when it comes to Trezor, they don't have that ability. So, you know, I love them, bro. I'm in love with these guys. I don't know why. I feel like they showed up at a time where, I mean, they not showed up. They've been around, but they kind of like, I've been monitoring like their whole entire tweets. Like, these guys are good, man. These guys are taking the opportunity. 20% off from the treasures. Oh, these guys are taking advantage of this.
Right, but listen, man, we in the Bitcoin maxi world, we felt the same way about COLDCARD, bro. The same way you're talking about Trezor right now, you couldn't tell me nothing about COLDCARD.
But I would never. Well, here's the thing: I would have never did COLDCARD. Here's why. That shit look like a calculator. So number one, if you're hiding your entire life savings on a calculator, my nigga, there's something wrong with you. All right. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, if that shit right there, that's where all your life savings are, you got big problems. You got something else to worry about. You got a calculator.
It says calculator right on it. I don't know if you can see it. No, you
bro,
can't.
that shit is ugly.
It says calculator.
But when you go to the Lou, when you go to the airport, you're gonna look like a math major or something. That's the whole point. You look like somebody, a school teacher or a tutor or something. You know what I'm saying?
Nah, you're right. You're right. So let me ask you guys this. So also Robin, Jerry, and Jor, out of this situation, did you guys use COLDCARD prior to any of this happening?
Only.
So you only, Jerry, Robin?
I actually didn't use COLDCARD. I did actually, when someone asked me like, oh, do you recommend COLDCARD? I was like, oh, it's a great hardware device. Like the whole industry did, but I've never actually used it.
No, I know the whole industry did, but there's only a few people that actually use it. You know what I'm saying? Like you might go to another wallet, but there's people that actually really, really used it.
But I go one step further. I go one step further. I don't use I use multiple different vendors. So I don't rely on one to give me the perfect, like I believe that any one of my hardware wallets can break. And so like using multiple different ones allows me that one, I can lose a key. One, a hardware manufacturer can make a mistake, and I still don't lose all of it. So it's like that's why I asked you before, like, why are you against multi-sig? Because this is exactly removing the trust of like one single point of failure.
I don't. No, I mean, I hear you. I hear you, man. Oh, fuck this shit, man. This shit got me fucked up, man.
Lou, you with some hardcore Bitcoiners, bro.
Up, man. It just does. Oh, so I love Bitcoin. I love everything that it solves. I love everything about it. It was already ugly for me. Like it was already hard for me to get off the exchange because I'm like, damn, bro, like it's a lot of responsibility. Are you ready for this? I had talks with myself in the mirror about this. Like, yo, bro, your life savings are about to go over here. Like, what's the best way to do this? Then you realize that, yo, Rob, like I got, my Coinbase locked me out. Like I didn't even have any money in there, but they just sent me an email and they just deleted my whole, and I'm like, you know what? It's probably a year ago. And I didn't even do anything, bro. Like I haven't bought Bitcoin on it. Maybe they were mad I wasn't buying any Bitcoin, but I got locked out of there. So I'm like, Robinhood could do the same thing. And first of all, having all my life savings in Robinhood right now is retarded, but it's fun. It's fun because, at the end of the day, it is what it is. You know how nerve wracking it was to send all the money over there, like little by little. There were people sending 6 Bitcoin all at once. Like, how in the world do you have the balls to send that much Bitcoin at once? My heart would be aching for hours. Anyways, I have a lot of emotions. I don't know if you guys can see, but man, my emotions on this is just, I'm all over the place. I'll be honest with you. I am all over the place when it comes to this. Because it's just scary, bro. It's just scary to know that you could lose your life savings. And the way that people spoke about COLDCARD, like, for good reason. But they just fucked up. And I think that's fucked up. Because you just lost so much trust. Yeah, this man raw dogs for sure. Robert, yes, bro. I can't go to Coinbase because they banned me. So for emergency purposes, I like Jack Mallers. I took a picture of him, and I'm like, I love this guy, but I'd rather go to Robinhood instead of Strike because, I don't know why, but I went to Robinhood, bro. I'm raw dog to Robinhood right now. It's unbelievable.
That's a great segue. What I was just about to ask the panel and the guests. Bitcoin only. That was the thing we all talked about, right? Bitcoin only exchanges and Bitcoin only wallets. And now what I'm hearing from people is, oh, go back to Trezor, go back to Ledger, right? What's everybody's feeling about Bitcoin only exchanges and now wallets?
Crypto is done anyways. I think nobody cares about like altcoins anymore. Like they might have a resurgence in the bull market of Bitcoin.
Chill,
But
don't
like,
talk about XRP like this, bro. Don't talk about XRP. Somebody's gonna faint in the comments.
no, but like nobody like you had always this argument of like, oh, you get more Bitcoin. I think that crowd is now at strategy, and I think I don't know crypto. Like I don't know why you should be excited about it.
This one is a Bitcoin only treasure, by the way. They have those. Just saying,
Trezor's good, man.
they do have those.
Trezor's good. Trezor was the first hardware device that I ever used myself. I also had cryptos at the time. I just didn't love that I was plugging into a computer. That's what really drew me towards the COLDCARD itself, is the fact that it never touches the internet. It never connects to a network. I love that because I'm not technical enough to know what's happening when you stick a cord from your device with your private key into your laptop and what that is potentially transferring over. So that to me was the reason why I got away from Trezor. I've always, Trezor is awesome. They were the first hardware company. They were kind of the really the founders of self-custody today. They had the first hardware device. But again, I just didn't like that. And so that was a trade-off that I made. But I'm still for Bitcoin only. I think as soon as you start introducing these other shit coins and features, you just stack more issues. There's more things that can go wrong with it. And, going back to CoinKite here, they were Bitcoin only. So it's kind of weird to say that, they had their focus. But I mean, you just look at what's happened in the last couple of years with CoinKite, right? Like NVK himself, I watched him do all this. He was so focused on building out this AI model. I forget what he was even called now, but that's all he talked about for 6 months or a year. And I'm like, what the fuck are you doing, man? You're literally responsible for millions or tens of thousands, whatever the amount of users are. Their Bitcoin, their life's work. You're looking after that. And then next he moved on to a different device that he just rolled out last week, like Arcos or something like that. And I'm like, what are you doing, man? Like if you're Bitcoin only, but you're not focused on what you're supposed to be doing here. And that's the tough thing about being Bitcoin only, is just like, it's boring. It's not overly profitable, but it's like, it's the only thing that matters. So that's the fine line for me, is like, I don't know. Yeah, I'd still recommend people only use Bitcoin only stuff. And Lou held up his Trezor there with this Bitcoin only, but it's not so much of now looking back on it. It's like, what is the team doing? What is the team focused on? What is the messaging? I think that we could have learned a lot from just like trusting our gut a little bit more instead of the people that we trusted in Bitcoin, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Somebody said some guy made 40 million on a meme coin recently. It's tough, man. Life is tough.
It's tough.
That guy had a 40-bit entropy chance of doing that too. he had a I wonder how much money he lost before he got there. But kudos to him. If you made 40 million on a meme coin, you still got to put the money somewhere, right? So at the end of the day, you get all that cash, you were fucking around with meme coins. Where does the money go, right? Because that 40 million could turn into 25 in the next 5-10 years. So,
or zero.
Yeah, those are the games that you choose to play.
Yep.
Good luck on explaining that. All right, so here's what I will say to Jor, because I think that I've been seeing these conversations, and I do this thing where I try to really hear every side, which is how I always make up my mind. As far as like politics goes, I hear the left and I hear the right. If you look at my Twitter account, I follow every leftist, I follow every right winger, and I just try to take and see, and all these things. And so that's been happening to me with the Bitcoin space. There is a big sets of group. There is a guy by the name of British Hodl. British Hodl's obviously a Bitcoiner, loves Bitcoin, but his whole stance is, the masses will never do the entire Bitcoin maxi BS. That's what he called it. And, I was trying to figure him out. I was like, okay, what's he trying to get at? Is he trying to get you to move away from self-custody? And it does seem like that's where a lot of people are landing, is that the masses will never self-custody. The masses will always have to trust. And then his argument was, well, you still have to trust anyway with a manufacturer that makes hard wallets. So at the end of the day, you're still trusting somebody some way. So at the end of the day, people have to make this decision on their own. I think that the Bitcoin space is going to get 10 times better because of this. I think we have to get better after this. Like, I think that the quantum threat is real. These AI models, these LLMs are getting better. Everything's getting better. Then why isn't the Bitcoin third parties and Bitcoin wallet manufacturers, why aren't they getting better? Why is this, why is this a mistake? So in my opinion, it does something to people. The last thing I will say is every bull gets slayed in a bear market. The bear market isn't over until the last bull is slayed. Until that one person that is a permanent bull gets slayed, that's when you know that the Bitcoin bear market is ending. And boy, have I seen so many bulls get slayed in the last freaking week. I'm talking about like the most bullish people that we know. So, yeah.
It's also interesting because if we talk about bear markets, usually bear markets have victims, like the FTX scandal. This bear market didn't really had a victim up until now. COLDCARD is not a victim of the bear market. Obviously, the COLDCARD incident event had nothing to do with the Bitcoin price action directly, but it happened in a bear market. So maybe COLDCARD is the victim that we had to go through in this bear market. But maybe there's more pain to come.
Is it preparing you for the next bull market? What is the next bull market going to look like? It's not going to be driven by the Bitcoin maxis. I think the Bitcoin maxis are the most irrelevant people in the world right now. They just figured out how irrelevant we are. No. I'm being super serious. Like, we are irrelevant. We don't move the price. Like, Bitcoin maximalists do not move the price anymore, which tells you the state of Bitcoin.
Yeah, there was a great presentation. I know people hate a lot on Saylor these days, but there was a great presentation he did in Prague where he listed up all the different money pots in the world, where like who actually moves money, where's actually the money distributed. And if you look at that, it was like, yeah, cypherpunks that talk about sovereignty and do care about all those things like us, like they don't move money. Wealth advisors move money. Institutions move money. All of those things. And so that's why I actually think, and it might be an unpopular opinion, but I think a thing like Strategy or BlackRock is actually good for Bitcoin. I don't think Bitcoin needs it. Like, that's a different discussion. But I think it's good because it brings those people in and brings those institutions and corporates and entities in. And I don't care. They're pumping my bags. It's okay for me as long as Bitcoin stays decentralized and secure.
Oh, we have no choice. Like, there is no choice. Like, this is going to happen regardless. Like, we can't stop them from buying Bitcoin. There's nothing you could do to stop these people. You know what I'm saying? Like, these people, they're going to look at Bitcoin, whether they think about it as money, whether they think about it as, hogging it, right? Like, I think that's wrong. I think this should be used as money. These countries where we currency should be using as money, but that's not, we can't be responsible for that. We can only try to preach to Jeff Booth, but then Michael Saylor is the one with the money. They're going to choose what they want. And if they want to buy it, they don't. If they don't want to buy it, they want to dump it, they want to dump it. But at the end of the day, Michael Saylor isn't even moving shit. Like, Michael Saylor's been dumping Bitcoin now for the last 2 months and the shit is going up. I'm like, oh my God. This is reverse psychology. What's going on, man? Like,
he announces that he bought Bitcoin and all of a sudden Bitcoin goes down. He announces that he sold Bitcoin goes up. And it's actually, if you look at the liquidity volume that Bitcoin has every single day, it's very, very big. And even if you sell a big amount of Bitcoin or buy a big amount of Bitcoin, what Saylor does, it doesn't move the needle too much. He has to buy or sell like 50,000 Bitcoin to be a small percentage of the liquidity. It's people underestimate how liquid the Bitcoin market really is.
What's up, Brandon?
Let's go. What's going on, bro?
Dude,
hey, Jerry,
killing me, Lou. Their comments, man. I'm just dying in the.
Oh, so you've been watching the whole time? You've been hearing.
I've been watching the last like 20, 30 minutes. I do stuff with the kids, and I was trying to fix my Wi-Fi, and then I just came in. I was like, you just had me like on the floor laughing, Lou.
Bro, you've been hearing my rants, man. You guys have seen another side of me, bro. This shit got me fucked up, if I'm being honest. This shit got me all the way messed up.
Lou,
Jerry,
kind of
my
on
fault, Jerry. I know you've been meaning to talk, Jerry.
Yeah,
I'm
go
sorry,
ahead,
I'm cutting you off.
Yeah, I wonder because we got a lot of hardcore Bitcoiners in here, right? So I want to talk to you guys. I want you guys to answer this question. Also, you know, back to the panel, but I'm going to give you my thoughts on the question I asked about Bitcoin only exchanges and Bitcoin only wallets. I had to really question this when I put so much faith in COLDCARD, the best and the only and the gold standard of Bitcoin wallets, cold storage. And so when I had to move my Bitcoin, because I had to move my Bitcoin, I had to sit in a dark room for a little bit. I had to close my eyes and just really like, all right, Jerry, let's do this nice and slow because I'm not good at this shit. And I had to do it. And I'm like, all right, where am I going to put my Bitcoin? Where am I going to put it? Right? Am I going to put it here or I'm going to put it there? Am I going to get another Bitcoin only wallet? Because I just found out, I didn't know this. Again, I trusted, not verified. I didn't know COLDCARD had 10 employees or something like that, CoinKite or whatever it is, a very small.
Right around there.
Yeah. And I'm
5 or
thinking
6,
when
7,
so when I read the simple oversight that they had on the most important thing, and like George said, what MVK was doing, focusing on all this other stuff, I'm thinking, are the Bitcoin only companies Bitcoin only? And if they are, they should be like that should not have happened. That little tiny mistake that was a huge mistake, and I had to really second guess myself because everything I was doing was Bitcoin only. I first used Coinbase, I stopped. I used Cash App because that was Bitcoin only, and then I went to the one I'm using now, and then for an exchange. But then I'm like, okay, am I going to send all my Bitcoin over there to that exchange? I don't trust it, even though it's a Bitcoin only. I don't trust all my Bitcoin over there. I don't trust it on Coinbase, obviously, and I don't trust Bitcoin only companies. So I was looking at Trezor, like Lou talked about, but then the ecosystem of quote unquote crap coins and all that, because I got away from Ledger and Trezor because they support something that I don't support, and that's altcoins. So I'm having a very, very hard time now because I'm trapped between a rock and a hard place right now. Do I trust the Bitcoin only? Because they fucked me. The Bitcoin only company fucked me, right? Had to do all this stuff and move my stuff. And honestly, I don't know where I'm at, man. Like I'm dead serious. I'm all Bitcoin. You see, every single day I'm wearing these stupid ass shirts, these great shirts. And I'm pissed right now, right? I'm fucking pissed off because your identity is tied to this shit. Look at my boy Brandon. He's got an ocean hat on. My boy Lou, he's got a Satoshi.
I changed it off my Robinhood hat. I just took it off, and then it's on the coat rack over here.
So we're only Bitcoin. Every time, like when I hear
an orange ocean hat, but I don't know where it's at.
Yeah, a couple days ago when I've heard Lou, the last couple streams, when every time he said Robinhood,
there you go.
I'm cringing like Robinhood, Lou. What do you? But now he's saying Robinhood. I'm just like, is Robinhood better? Is Trezor better? Again, what are we thinking, guys?
Hey, I don't care what nobody say. I have all my life savings in Robinhood right now, and there's a name in the face that I could. Again, he fucks me. I'm coming for him. I'll beat the shit out of whatever that guy's name is. He froze people's money before. Hopefully, he won't do it again. So I'm using them as a stop. We're gonna stop here for a little bit. We're gonna learn about the next move, but at least there's a face to it, and there is a face to COLDCARD too. That NVK dude. I'm not promoting violence at all, but I'm just saying, like, sometimes seeing a face to the name, it does give me a little peace of mind. So Bicky has Cash App and Block, which is Jack. So something goes wrong, we find Jack, we beat the shit out of Jack. I mean, there's always got to be somebody you can beat the shit out of at this point. That's the way I look at it. And I'm not promoting violence. I'm just saying, like, if I lose $40 million, if I lose $1 million, if I lose all my life savings, bro, well, don't ever show your face again. Like this NVK guy or whoever, was designing all this shit, like just deactivate and disappear forever. Like, because it's such a fuck up. Like it's an unbelievable fuck up, bro. Like
mutually assured destruction.
It's I saw an interview a couple months ago with NVK, and or they were talking about him in some way, and he basically like deleted himself from the internet. Like he went out of his way during the last 6 months, and I never really thought about this until you started talking about this, Lou. but he basically went out of his way to like get rid of every single picture of himself on the internet, which seems a little bit sketchy now that this whole thing played out. Yeah, I completely forgot about that. Type in NVK on Google, see if you can find.
Hindsight's always 20/20, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. You know what? It's tough. It's tough, guys. Right? Like, being, having righteous indignation or being a Puritan, you're always going to be in the minority, especially for something like this, right? Humans are herd animals. So it's tough. I mean, there's comfort in the herd. There's comfort in just being in the masses. That's how humans are. And I think what's tough is we are human. So you want to be right. People want to be wealthy. They want to have their cake and eat it too. We want to be Puritan. We want to be Bitcoin maxi. We want to be, we want to promote Bitcoin, vote with your wallet. You want to promote people who have the same ethos. But, we're a small cadre of people. Look, I mean, no one in the world even knows what's going on besides us. I was at a 100-person reunion this weekend, and 0 people asked me about the COLDCARD hack, let alone Bitcoin. I think I talked to 1 person about Bitcoin for 20 minutes.
It's like you stand at some reunion of like some random people, and you're telling them about dices and COLDCARD, and they're like, "What the fuck? Like, what are you talking? Like, nobody cares about what you dices."
Yeah, I want you guys to answer the question. No, I'm sorry. What do you guys think about the Bitcoin only stuff, though? As Bitcoiners, or we're maxis and all that, should we stay with the Bitcoin only wallets? Should we stay with the Bitcoin only exchanges? That's what I really want to focus on that just for a second, guys.
Yeah, and this is my long way of getting to that, Jerry. I mean, everyone has to do what they need to do. I don't think there's a one size fits all solution. Like, I tend to land more on the side of supporting Bitcoin only people. I mean, that's where I fall. But at the same time, that's not for everyone, right? Everyone has different incentives, different parts of life they're in, et cetera, et cetera. And that's where, the Bitcoin culture, for all its great things that it has done and the ethos it has promoted, yeah, some of these things are double-edged swords. And I've been a big proponent of saying these memes cut both ways. You have to be very careful with the memes. And they're good because a lot of the memes in Bitcoin culture are unbelievable for the average person. Like, when I go to a 100-person reunion, it's good for that. The memes, like, you never sell your Bitcoin, yada, 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 and on down the line, right? Stay humble, stack sats. That's great for the average person. But once you're in Bitcoin and you will become a Bitcoiner and you take on that ethos, and you're like, yeah, these are my people, this is the way I live, then a lot of those things kind of have to go away to a degree, because once you're in Bitcoin, well, how do you live on Bitcoin? If you're only Bitcoin, I have to sell my Bitcoin. I have to trade my Bitcoin. So all these things, they kind of start, you have to shed some of them in a way, or at least have the nuance in your brain to understand when I do this and when I don't do it. And then, yes, being the Puritan mindset of it's going against my soul or what I think is good or what I'm putting my time and energy into. There's that component as well. But that's different for everybody. What's in, how my soul sees the world isn't how other people's, what they believe in or whatever. So that's where I think it is very tough. I know people are saying the Bitcoin purity tests have to go away and things like that. I don't believe that's true. I think you need a small irate minority of people that are, slightly on the spectrum here to hold the line, to hold the torches and to hold the musket and say, sorry, I'm not going anywhere. You need some people like that. You have to have, because again, if the Trojan horse, the ETFs and the wrappers and Robinhood and all these characters are centralized, don't have the Bitcoin, don't have the node runners, and don't have the people with self-custody doing the dice rolls, blinking once, doing this, like your third base coach in MLB, doing this. If you don't have someone doing that, then guess what? The Trojan horse has no effect once it's inside the wall, because there's none one in it. The Trojan horse is empty. And so to me, it's kind of like America, where America is an imperial empire, but it's also a revolutionary force, and it kind of oscillates back and forth depending on what cycle we're in and where we're at. Bitcoin is that too. It's going to be a top down and bottom up approach, and that's what I think is very hard for us as humans to understand and see that, hey, Sailor's going to do what Sailor's going to do, Wall Street's going to do things, countries are going to come into Bitcoin, which again is part of one of the memes of you don't change Bitcoin, Bitcoin changes you, and on and on. So everyone needs Bitcoin. It's for anyone, but maybe not for everyone. Depending on if you have the responsibility and merit to take it on. But we talk about everyone needing Bitcoin, and then we're pissed off when people get Bitcoin. And they're like, whoa, that person can't get Bitcoin. It's like, what the hell do you think? Guess what? I mean, I said this like 4 or 5 years ago. What happens when Vladimir Putin just says one day, hey, I bought a bunch of Bitcoin, I love Bitcoin? I've been waiting for that to happen. I've wanted that to happen just to smoke people out and see who really believed in Bitcoin. Who really believes in Bitcoin? I want to know that, because when you say money, it's money for your enemies, do you actually know what that means? Do you believe that? We just saw a war start 4 years ago, and we're kicking people off their yachts. We're jumping Russian guys over the, Alex Ovechkin can't play hockey this week because he's Russian. They're still not in the Olympics, for crying out loud. I mean, so like the righteous indignation, all these things can be very good, but also can be very bad. Again, all these things cut both ways at the end of the day, and you have to be very careful and nuanced to your approach. So there's not some one size fits all approach, Jerry. I tend to fall on that side, though. So admittedly, I tend to fall on, I'm going to vote with more of a Puritan mindset of things. And I agree with that side a bit more, but I'm also trying to be pragmatic. I try to be pragmatic in the sense of there's 8 billion other people, and most people, like I said, they have no idea what's going on, and they're going to be, society's going to be dragged slowly. And like we said many times, there's no shortcut to Bitcoin adoption at the end of the day. There's zero shortcutting this. It's patience and nuance over time. Time converts more than reason, as Thomas Paine wrote about. We can't sailor our way there. We're not going to Bhutan mining our way there. We're not going to Book Elliott and trumpet. There's no person that has some magic bullet that says, okay, now we've got the right amount of adoption. It's bottom up over time. It's top down doing their thing. And we find consensus as time goes on. No one wants to hear that answer. It's not sexy. I even joked yesterday, with Jor or on Bitcast or somewhere. And I was like, I might just put one title on every one of my YouTube videos from now on, and just, the righteous indignation in me and stubbornness of just being like, F you, I'm going to do the same thing over and over every day just to prove that the algorithm, all these stupid things that we think about, the fiat mindset of like, I don't care. I will show up every single day with the same headline over and over again until people understand it. And that's kind of where we're at, I think.
I was betrayed. I was betrayed by a man named Michael Saylor. He said, never sell your Bitcoin, and talked about Bitcoin. Do you know, like, Michael Saylor was one of those people. Obviously, I've known about Bitcoin since 2017. I didn't have no money at 20 years old. But is that how old I was in 2017? Was I like 21? I think I was 21. No, I was 20. Yeah. I was 20. I was born in 1997, so I was 20. Damn, you guys were in your fucking 30s, weren't you? You old heads. God bless you, though. You guys are the reason I'm here. But, you have people that take you on a journey. What I'm saying with Michael Saylor, and I'm saying it to be facetious, but it's just more like it happens, and it's going to continue to happen. Like, it is what it is. Like, Bitcoin is obviously here to stay no matter what happens. Michael Saylor was the biggest bull. Now his company is selling. COLDCARD was the best in Bitcoin only maxis, and it fucking failed. Or like, it doesn't matter. Bitcoin is here to stay no matter what, and that's something that I've come to learn over time. And it is what it is. And I did enough research on it where I feel, hey, all my life savings, this is what I want to do. And I have to figure out a way to, self-custody it. And I got to figure out a way to do this. And it's just a part of the journey. It just is what it is. This is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right, Lou. And I saw Gary Cardone bitching about it on Twitter yesterday, saying how the average person isn't going to roll 100 dice. And he's right. But at the same time, Bitcoin doesn't give a shit what Gary Cardone thinks. You know what I mean? Like, for me personally, I see Bitcoin as two things. Number one, is going to get me wealthy. And number two, it's going to give me full sovereignty over my life. Two things. People who aren't willing to put in the work are still going to get one of those two things, which is they're going to become wealthy. However they're holding it, whether they're letting somebody else trust, they're trusting somebody else to do it for them, or if they're holding it them, or whatever, it's on exchange. But they have zero sovereignty with that. And I feel like people like Gary Cardone, he doesn't really care about sovereignty from my best knowledge of him. And there's a billion other Garys in this world. You know what I mean? But that doesn't mean that I don't want that myself. So me personally, I see Bitcoin as wealthy, sovereignty. I want both, and I'm willing to put in the work to get there, but most people will not. So it doesn't matter what I think. It doesn't matter what Gary Cardone thinks. It sure as hell doesn't matter what fucking British HODL thinks. That guy can go fuck himself. But like, everybody wants different things from Bitcoin, and whatever work you want to put into it, that's what you get out of it. It's the same as anything in life. That's the whole Bitcoin ethos. is
British
proof of
Hodl ain't
work.
grabbing the
It's
musket.
real
Let's just say
energy.
that.
What's that?
The British Hodl ain't grabbing the musket, the proverbial musket. Let's just say that.
Exactly.
I like British Otto. I like his side of the story. Am I a fan of?
He's
am
not.
I a
Yeah, he's
fan
not
of
totally
it?
wrong. Like George said. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
people.
like,
A lot of people
am I going to do what he's doing? Am I going to promote what he's? No, but I think that whatever. I'll listen to it, and I'll listen to Gary Cardone. I'll listen to everybody, and that's how I know that what I feel and what I believe is firm, because I can go up there on a Spaces and I could share my side and say I disagree with you, but you can say whatever the fuck you want, and it is what it is. It's just about your belief system. It's the same thing. Like I said earlier, I listen to leftists all the time. I listen to Hassan Piker. I listen to all these DSAs. Cool. I listen to them because that's how I know I don't fucking agree with you. That's how I know I don't agree with you. That when I listen to you speak, it reminds me of why I don't agree with you, and I know why I don't agree with you. There's people that listen to other people and then they start agreeing because that's the only thing they're listening to, and they just agree with every. No, I listen to all sides, and that's how I fucking know I'm sure that what I believe in, it's firm. You know what I'm saying? Like I listen to every side, and you're not when you listen to these people, you're listening to people that are literally trying to convince you of something. And if you have the power, will, and knowledge to have enough self-control to do your own fucking research, you'll be just fine. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You listen to a leftist, they're trying to sell you communism. That shit sounds amazing. Don't get me wrong, it does. But I sit there and I start fucking grokking shit. Who's fucking, Lenin, Marxist? When did Marxism come about? Who the fuck was Martin Luther King for real? Did Rosa Parks really not have a car? Her husband had a fucking car. Like you just search these things up, and you believe in what you believe in. So
it's
I love
time.
I love Ben Cowan.
It's time horizon, Lou. Right? I mean, and that's part of the problem. Like,
is.
it's two ships passing in the night. It's a lot of people are arguing. Again, the Bitcoin Puritans are, have to be pragmatic enough to realize that this way, the last 17 years, is not how you're going to get to the rest of the 8 billion people. And the hard part is those factions of people trying to come together and find some type of consensus and find adoption. And that's what's really tough. And that's what we're, as humanity, is trying to figure out right now. Because as a Puritan, you don't want to give away the ethos. You feel like you're going to give away the ethos. Like, yeah, of course I know no one else is going to do that pragmatically. And that's the problem. Like, you're going to bastardize it into this other thing. But, part of it is like, we don't know, like with electricity, what happens with all these things, fire, someone discovers something, and then we don't even know 20 years from now or 100 years from now what's going to happen, right? Like we don't even know what's going to be created, because a lot of this is moot in the sense that someone's going to create shit because of these bad things happening. Someone's going to create these unbelievable ways to custody things that are even more secure, and it's way more user friendly, and like all these things are going to happen because it's something we couldn't even see today, and that's where it is tough. Like the ethos fights and this righteous indignation is good, but sometimes it is moot in a way because someone's building in the background, someone's doing stuff where, oh shit, here's this discovery, a new invention where it just solved all these problems, and people start flooding in. So
Elon Musk is the perfect example of that. How many fucking people hate that guy? They fucking hate that guy. But this guy is out here creating things that most people, they can't get to. I heard that the of the Trump administration, the NASA guy, he was talking about fucking Elon Musk and SpaceX like it was like this unbelievable thing. That's this guy, the leader from NASA is talking about. So I'm like, if he is talking about Elon Musk at a very high level, what this guy's creating things that we could get to Mars and we could get to fucking mine gold in Mars or whatever, and this guy's the leader of it, and millions of people hate this guy. It just is what it is. There's nothing you can do about it.
But Lou, you know why they hate him.
I understand why I understand why they hate him, but it's just more like, yo, he's the guy doing it. He's leading the pack. Maybe he should fucking start self-custody. He should do something in that world. Maybe we'd solve a lot of problems with this guy.
But those people have put in zero work to listen to both sides. Zero.
True.
They listen.
Unfortunately, that is.
Yeah. So it's like, if you just want to blindly trust people to tell you what to think or how to think or to store your Bitcoin, like that's up to you. No two people are going to have the same, feelings toward this. And I think what you're saying there, Lou, is like you're listening to both sides of it. You're trying to figure out what makes the most sense for your specific situation, not for anybody else. I mean, it's great to be, to want to look out for everybody else, but at the end of the day, we got to look after ourselves and our family. And so you have to take both sides, and then you take both sides of the story and you figure out how does it affect you and what's the best decision for you. It's not going to be the same for me as it is for you. That's just the reality of things. And for a lot of people, there's going to be some sort of maybe in between there where maybe they don't want full sovereignty, but they don't want to just have full trust in somebody else. And so there's solutions for it, right? Like you could have a cold storage with a passphrase with the dice rolls for half your stack, and then you leave half your stack with Robinhood. Like there's in between here. You don't have to go full side one or the other. And I think that, you know, the further you get into it, the more I think you'll be interested in something like that. Having it on one stack in a different country, like you're sovereign, but you're completely helpless at certain points too. So it's like you kind of got to find the sweet spot there. It's like the Berenstain Bears, where it's like not too hot, not too cold, just right. And whatever the just right is different for everybody else.
Yeah,
Never too high, never too low, always in between. That's literally what it comes down to. My question to you would be, if somebody is somebody is new to Bitcoin, they just bought a bunch of Bitcoin, they have a lot of money in there, they've been in an exchange, what would you recommend for them now? And that's low-key the question I haven't really seen anybody answer, because everybody's all over the fucking place. What do you give to the people that have no idea this even happened? There's a lot of like to Brandon's point, George, like Jerry, like how many other people do you think know about this? A lot of people don't. They buy Bitcoin, they buy it on the exchange. They're like, you know what? I kind of want to self-custody this thing. And they have no idea what happened with COLDCARD. Like they probably have no idea. So what do you tell people now? And what is the recommendations? That is my number one, like, kind of question, worry / like, what are people saying now? You know what I mean?
This is kind of where I think that we went off track as Bitcoiners. We pressured people into moving too quickly. And one thing I've been saying on the show for a while now is I kind of mentioned this at the beginning of the show, but I'll repeat it because I think it's still relevant, even more so today. It's like you got to ask yourself, you got to look in the mirror and you say, how much do I know about Bitcoin self-custody? It's one thing to just have a device and set it up, but how much do you know about it? And so you kind of rate yourself out of 100. And for most people who are brand new, they might be like 5% or less, probably 5% or less. And so of their total stack, let's say that they have $100,000 worth of Bitcoin, I would say taking 5,000 of that and getting self-custody of that and keeping the rest on an exchange. And then as they grow, as they practice and get more familiar and comfortable with it, then it moves to maybe 7% and then 10%. So it kind of goes up as their knowledge grows. That's when they begin to take more from their exchange into their self-custody until, you know, they're comfortable with it. And maybe they never exceed 50% with it. But I think that there's still like a sliding scale of how people should be approaching this. And too many people just went from 0 to 100. With 5% knowledge, taking 100% of their Bitcoin into self-custody. And that's how so many people got wrecked with this thing.
It's nuanced.
Good. But here's my argument against that, because I would say that I'm one of those people. You know, I knew a lot about cold storage wallets as far as how to use them, but I didn't know too much about entropy. A lot of people don't. But one thing I do know is that Robinhood or Coinbase could freeze the fuck out of me. Yeah. Right. Like, so it's like people were risking that. And that is a huge risk because we've seen the nightmares of exchanges losing Bitcoin or holding you hostage. Yep. You know, so, I mean, Robin showed before he left, obviously, but he showed the graph of how much money people have lost just trusting exchanges. So, you know, that's what made me panic. You know, I hate the fact that my whole stack is somewhere and now it's no longer because I feel that I need to upgrade my security.
What? Lou, yeah. I just want to say one thing quick for that because what happened? What's going on?
Oh, I don't know. We're getting hacked.
What the hell is that?
MI6 is hacking us.
I think that the thing that Robin shared there, I mean, it makes sense and it kind of shows like this hack specifically. But if you could see how much Bitcoin has been lost through the years that's not on that chart just by people messing up their own stack, like losing their key, locking themselves out of their device, forgetting their passphrase, forgetting how to restore their multi-sig or not backing it up properly, it would probably exceed all the Bitcoin that were lost on the exchanges through the years. I guarantee that. But you don't see that on that chart. It's not specific to this cold card hack. That's people throughout the last 17 years who moved too quickly with their self-custody, didn't know what they were doing, messed it up, and don't have the keys to it anymore. That's not displayed on that chart there, but it's in the millions. Like most people estimate that there's 3 to 4 million Bitcoin lost. That's by people fucking up, right? So even though it doesn't show up on that chart, that's the reality of the situation. I've talked to many people myself who have lost Bitcoin, several Bitcoin at a time, because and it's funny because I ripped up this CoinKite backup card a couple months ago because it's shitty. Like this is what they sent with the cold card. It's like a piece of paper that you can hardly write on. And people lose these. It just gets lost in the shuffle of things, and they lose their Bitcoin because CoinKite told them to write it on this thing. So that would be my argument back. It's like that's not captured in that chart of just how many people have lost Bitcoin because they moved too quickly through the years.
Okay, so what are the ways of adoption to you guys? Because to me, I only see it two ways. It's slow over time, and science progresses one funeral at a time. Or just massive heartache, like massive rug pulls. I don't know, World War III, IV. Like, I mean, what are the ways you're going to have adoption other than that? Because it's just most humans, again, they don't care. They do not care. Their Chase Bank works right now. They don't care.
Yeah.
So again, it's this time horizon issue where like Bitcoiners, like we think it's going to happen tomorrow. It ain't happening tomorrow. Like it's happening 29 years from now. Like that's. And it gradually happens over time. It's not like one day, like all of a sudden, like, yes, turn the switch on. It just gradually happens over time. People not accepting the bullshit. But there are a lot of people that have already kind of figured that out, that a lot of this that we're dealing with is bullshit, like someone just said in the chat, right? Of course. But most people, again, we've had 100+ years of conform, comply, obey, government run schooling. I mean, this is, I don't like giving matrix analogies, but like, again, when they're walking down the street and he's like, Neil, look around. Like these people are your enemy. Like cops, doctors, lawyers, teachers, they will fight you to keep the system they are in. Like Mark Twain said, it's easier to fool a man than to convince him he has been fooled. That's the world we live in. And it's like, it's just every other thing is a shortcut. I can't see it any other way. Mass pain. Like pain we can't even understand right now, or time. And it's not sexy. And that's gonna be, I think it's maybe a YouTube title from now on. Come here and learn, hang out, and provide value to life and save in Bitcoin. Well, it's just pain, mass pain mixed with time. And the younger generation who knows Bitcoin, has only grown up with Bitcoin, and says, yeah, of course, why would I use money that steals from me? Well, again, that's not happening tomorrow, guys. So I don't know. Those are the two ways I see it.
Brandon, are you a cook?
I'm not.
Because you're cooking, man. You're a chef, bro. You're definitely cooking.
Wow. You guys got the jokes today. Shit. I got to get my joke. I love it.
But common sense ain't common. You know that. We think that common sense, simple stuff. And again, going back to what Lou said.
Great call.
And by the way, the stream didn't have a Tourette syndrome. That was me. I had a video I wanted to play because Lou, I feel the same exact way. I want to play this video real quick so we can understand what we're doing. This is from Tom Brady.
In my last Super Bowl I was a part of, I was.
Let me play it. Can you guys see this?
Yep.
Okay.
My last year in my last Super Bowl I was a part of, I was 2 weeks of watching film. Friday night, I was just going through the film. I knew Kansas City's defense better than they knew themselves. I knew their body movements, the way their linebackers move, the way their safeties move. Tyrann Mathieu, Nick Sorensen, Shavarius Ward. I knew everything they were doing. I got out there on the field. I looked up as I was walking line of scrimmage and said, okay, they're blitzing. This is going to be great. And then I was dealing with it right away. I walked up, I said, okay, they're going to bail to cover 2. Ball snap, cover 2. I knew I had the answers to the test. That's where I was great. That's where my magic superpower was. It wasn't how fast I could run. It was how fast I could diagnose what they were doing. What's the special quality? What's the internet speed of me as a quarterback? Fast as I was Starlink before Starlink.
And that's the point. That's how we got to be, Lou. That's a great point you brought up. You got to look at the other side. Always. I don't watch right-wing shit, man. I don't watch a lot of Bitcoiner shit. I watch the people that are our enemies, right? And the people that are brainwashed and the people that don't have the common sense. And that's what we got to focus on. You got to be a fast learner. Now, again, I'm going to watch the Bitcoiners for the cold storage stuff. But we have to understand where these people are coming from in order to win. It's hard to do, and it's painful to listen to these people sometimes. It's, again, when you have a half of a brain and you see what these people are falling for, most people, and again, I always show this on my show, 75 million people in 2024 voted for a black woman that ain't black.
It's true. And the other part
Did
of
you
that,
hear what I said? Yeah, I let 5 million people, because she was black and because she wasn't Trump, voted for her because Trump is bad and she's black. So you think when Bitcoin starts really hitting and things are going well, you thought Trump derangement syndrome was bad? The BDS is going to be crazy. It really is.
I just want to say one thing on that too, because like the part that I took away from that, in addition to what you're talking about, Jerry, is like knowing your enemy, is just how much time it takes. Like you can't buy that. You know, when you're standing there in the huddle, you can't pay for that knowledge inside your head. That comes from hours and hours and hours of repetition. And so to me, you know, that's how I got into this position that I'm in right now. It's by thinking through this stuff. And I thought that was interesting earlier in the show, Lou. You said something about looking at yourself in the mirror and really thinking about how you're going to proceed here. That's literally how I got to be where I am. And thankfully, because of the work and the decisions, my Bitcoin was safe through all this. But it was because I sat there and I thought, okay, whatever I'm holding right now is extremely important to me and my family's future here. So I need to think about every possible angle, every attack vector and threat model. And then I need to figure out how I'm going to counteract that. So to me, in this situation, being Tom Brady, the quarterback, all those attack vectors to me were the blitz or that side of it. That's what I thought through, which then leads you to like, okay, what's the point of a passphrase? Why do I need it? How is it going to improve my security? What is a multi-sig? Is that going to protect me from somebody breaking into my house or my house burning down? What if I have my cold card and my 12 words right beside each other and my house burns down? My Bitcoin's gone. So when you actually stop and visualize all the things that could go wrong, see, something like that makes more sense then. But it's like, until you go through that exercise of doing that, you don't really have a clue. You're just kind of reliant on somebody else's word or telling you that. So it takes a lot of freaking work to understand all the components to it. But I do think it's a worthwhile experience overall.
Here's what I will say about that. Sometimes in life, it's not even about how much determination you have, right? Because somebody could be very hungry and determined to do better. But sometimes it's the experiences that give you the wisdom. Sometimes like you're not going to know everything. And that's where I think, you know, for me, the learning curve is there's a lot of mistakes I've made personally that have taught me a lot, but there's a lot of mistakes other people make that also teach me. And this was one of them. This taught me, it gave me a wake-up call. It taught me a valuable lesson. I treated it as if I lost money. That's the way I was moving. I was moving my Bitcoin. I was doing all of these things. I was like, yo, I wiped my device. I did the C phrase again. Like I was just all over the place because I was really, you know, I was reading and I was asking Grok every question possible. Like I need to master this now. And I need to figure something out. And the reason why I bring up BitKey is because one of the biggest questions I had was beneficiaries, right? Like, how the fuck is my mom, or God forbid something happens to me, God forbid. But like, how is my mom, my girl, or my brother, or my nieces, you know, and my future kids, how are they going to get to my Bitcoin if I made it so difficult to fucking get into it? Yep. So I do think that there's going to be inventions. And I think BitKey is one of those. I think Casa, Unchained, and there's a lot of different aspects to the multi-sig that's good. There's a lot of things that are good for that 24 word, 250, 256 bits, or, even 128. But back to the Brady point is that's how I treat my life. That's how I treat YouTube. It's just a competitive nature in me. How can I make a video better? How can I make a title, thumbnail, clickbait? How can I do everything at a really high level to produce? And I think that that's how people have to look at their life. And that's what keeps you going. Now, me and my mom had a conversation. She's been here with me for some time now in my home in Texas. And she, like I told her, it feels like she's rejuvenated. She's fine, like she's selling stuff on TikTok. She's finding meaning. She's finding something to chase, something to wake her up, something to motivate her, rejuvenate, give her meaning again. And I think that all humans, that's what keeps us going. That's what we thrive for. You know what I mean? And I think that Bitcoin has done that for me, and I think it's done that for a lot of other people. I can't speak for you guys, but I'm sure it has a lot to do with why you wake up every day fucking motivated to be better and do better, because you have something to chase. So I think that in the self-custody aspect, I think rolling the dice is the right decision. I think that taking every measure possible to secure yourself is it. And everybody that says that they secured themselves to the best of their ability using COLDCARD, you did not. You didn't roll the dice. You didn't do everything necessary. You trusted still something else. And I think there's a lot of lessons to be learned. Not trying to shit on those people, because COLDCARD, from what I've seen, had a great trust. Like it was trusted, very well trusted. And it was, if I'm not mistaken, air gap, offline, no internet connection. I mean, it's an unbelievable invention. It just, that one little fuck up became the biggest fuck up. You know what I mean? And it became a very scary fuck up. So yeah, so self-determination at the end of the day, you just have to know that there's risk to everything. There's risk to flying on an airplane, there's risk to going outside, there's risk to driving, there's risk to everything. You just have to be prepared. That is my thing. You have to be prepared, and you have to move. If you have faith in God or Jesus, move with Jesus. That's the number one thing that I'm chasing, trying to get closer, trying to learn more, trying to read the Bible. I got this book called With God, 1 Minute with God, recommended for everybody here. It's for men. So 1 minute with God. I recommend it.
How old's that book, Lou?
This is
probably
this. No. It basically, oh man, this is one of the best things. So it gives you, it's like a year thing. You could buy one every year. And so what's today's date? Today is August 4th. Where do I have my thing? So August 4th, where's my thing at? Oh, it's right here. So August 4th, which is my thing right here. On August 4th, last time I read this was August 1st. So August 4th, it gives you a topic. So the topic is respect. And then it gives you Bible verses in regards to respect. And then the next one is routine, and it gives you Bible verses on routine and discipline and stuff like that. So it just gives you verses to read. It gives, again, highly recommended. Depends on, you might be Muslim or you might be something else. God forbid not. But Islam K. But only some people understand what that means. If you're believing in Muhammad, bro, sorry, man. You've lost the plot already. No offense.
Yeah,
don't blame me, man. My bad to anybody in the chat that believes.
Well, we got a big election right now.
I gotta get the fuck off this live, bro. I got no senses.
Brandon, you're Michigan, right?
Yeah.
You're one of your senators is about to be. I already know what you're going through over there, bro.
Oh, he's going through a lot.
Did he win? Yes. Is it over with? Did he win?
Well, it's just a primary.
He's got the whole Islam over there.
Yeah, it's just the Democratic primary.
No. Yeah, I know, but it's like that's signaling. Of course, I think in a state like yours, and I don't want to get all political, that he's not going to win, but that's just signaling that side of the aisle is that. I'll just say that.
Yeah. No, it's tough. I mean, like we the problem every single human being has is we all believe that everyone sees the world through our eyes, right, and our experiences and our own world. Like this is something I've come back to so many times. I'm 39 years old and I'm still trying to learn this, that people didn't live the way I lived. Like I grew up, I wrote an article years ago that one of the big problems in society is that men don't get punched in the face anymore. I grew up getting in fights. I grew up wrestling, playing hockey, like all the time. And there's a certain level of accountability, merit, and responsibility you attain when that's your livelihood growing up. And then you see people walking around in life and like, wow, you need to get punched in the face. But then you realize you never did. Those people didn't get that. They didn't live that. So it's a very frustrating livelihood when you walk around thinking, how the hell are you acting like that? Why are you acting like a little bitch? Why are you acting like a woman? On and on and on and on. But when you don't have that feedback loop, or you don't have a man in your life, a father to whoop your ass or do something, or you know, and again, Stefan Molyneux, if you're watching or if listening, I'm sorry. But you know, my dad was like, hey, you would have been a criminal. By 2 or 3 years old, I was trying to run the roost, and my dad whooped me. And it's a good thing he did, because I probably would be in prison somewhere. My wife and I joke about that all the time. Like, I probably would have been in prison. And if it wasn't for my faith, to what Lou's saying, and also my dad putting me in my place, I'll never remember the last time I was like 12 years old. And I like tried to like, I don't know what it was. I said something to my mom. My dad sprinted across the house and like checked me through the drywall. And that was the last time. And I was probably like 5'10", 5'11", 170 pounds at 12 years old. And I was a big kid. And he put me through the drywall. And almost completely. Like, I was like, yeah, okay. And that was the last time I did that. Like, you don't talk to your mom like that. And if I didn't have that guidance in my life, which unfortunately probably over half the kids in society don't have that, look what the world we live in. Look where we are, you know? So, and again, I know we all believe that Bitcoin fixes the incentives that hopefully bring these things back together, bring common sense back, you know, fix the nuclear family in a way. And that's the hope a lot of times, but it's tough because I've had a lot of frustration in my life thinking, how is this not obvious to someone, right? How is this not obvious to society? How is this not obvious to Michiganders? And then you realize, oh my gosh, a lot of people, they grew up nothing like you did, Brandon. They have anything but your existence growing up. So of course,
no, leave it up.
What is it? Oh man. And so it's just like, that's what's difficult is everyone, you know, you have your filter of yourself in this one size fits all approach to life. And that we all have, right? This is not unique to any one person, obviously. So that's what makes it difficult. And we're just going through that at a societal scale, because again, these times are unlike any other times in the sense that before, for thousands of years, humans had no idea what was going on, like in the other town, let alone like what was going on in the world. So now we're dealing with these issues, and we don't know how to, in a way. So we're all kind of trying to grapple with these world events and things that are going on that just we weren't exposed to. We didn't understand. We didn't even know what the king was doing in our town, in our region. It was like, what the hell is he doing behind those walls? I don't know. Like, do you have food? Did we find food today? Like, that's what you were worried about for thousands of years. And so now we have time, fortunately, to think about some of these things, but now it's leveled up the accountability, merit, responsibility for people that, hey, if you don't have these experiences, kind of like what Lou was saying, I think it was Lou, it was just saying like these experiences and things you go through, these are all things that harden you. But if you don't have those things, we're trying to live in a bubble in our lives and mitigate all the things that make you harder and make you tougher, make you more wise, then it's going to be hard to run society in a world where everyone is very soft and hasn't had to deal with very much. I mean, this is just common sense, 2 + 2 = 4 logic that, again, because of government run schooling for 100+ years, especially in America, conform, comply, obey, most people are just completely out to lunch. And I think we're gonna have much rougher times. And this is why I was saying patience too, where governments are going to print forever. We're at the hockey stick part of the curve now. That only goes one direction. It just goes more vertical. But that doesn't happen tomorrow. Like, another COVID doesn't happen tomorrow, and we're not gonna have another one a year from now. Like, they're gonna happen. These events will happen again, but they don't happen like day after day. So you're not gonna have exponential printing every single day. And I think that's where Bitcoiners, we get frustrated, where it's like, how is this not obvious? Like, why isn't Bitcoin's price going up? Well, because these things happen. Over time. They don't happen just day after day. So stupid things happening, society writ large. I mean, and again, like, I didn't know what Xanax was, for example. I didn't know what Xanax was till I was like 30 years old. You know, I was very fortunate. I just didn't know. People in my life didn't use Xanax. My wife's an attorney. She deals with people 14 years old, 15 years old that are using Xanax, talking about it at school. That's completely foreign to me. Like, what in the hell is going on right now? These people, they're going to be running the world in 20 years, right? So this is the world we are entering. And we have nuclear family fallout where no one's parented anymore. Where do you think that's going to end up? It only ends up one direction if things don't change. So it's either mass pain over time to course correct society, or what? And so that's where, like, to me, like you guys said, your wisdom, the things you experience in life, seeing where the puck is going. In the chat, we're talking about using that common sense, triangulating your position, looking at, like Lou said again, and you guys were talking about earlier, looking at different sources, listening to a British hodl, listening to a Gary Cardone, listening to a purist, listening to a BIP 110er, listening to a non-BIP 110er, just the core side, listening to CNN, listening to Fox News, listening to, like, and on and on and on. You got to get all sides of the spectrum in order to start making up your own mind. And that, which comes now dovetails back into even the self-custody stuff. If you are watching someone and just taking verbatim what Jor is saying on YouTube or Ben Sessions, BTC Sessions or something like that, then you're not doing your homework. You're not taking it all in. You're not going down the rabbit hole. You're just trusting. You're not verifying. You're not doing the due diligence. The Tom Brady thing. You're not putting in the work. And so, yeah. Anyway, this is
that comment was amazing. That comment was absolutely unbelievable. Because when you think about those 4-year cycles, you do get punched in the face every 4 years, and it seems that the punches are really hard. They're getting harder every time. It's like you were getting punched by Muhammad Ali, now you're getting punched by Mike Tyson. Like, you're getting punched by some real elite fighters, especially with this cold card hack. Like, that's a big deal. But
Lou, the worst thing is, like, it's not every 4 years. I think it's actually a couple days every 4 years you're not getting punched in the face.
So every day.
The rest of the time is all boom, boom, boom every day from everybody. Even though the price might go up and down, everybody thinks you're a dipshit. You're a just constant attack from the world. It's like there's 3 or 4 days where people are like, "Oh man, you're a genius," and then it's like 4 more years of you're an idiot. Just repetitive punches to the face, to the nuts, to the everything. So yeah, I agree with that too. It's crazy life we live.
Yeah, I would say my life is crazy. A lot of people's life is crazy. Everybody's life is everybody. Like I said, I always say this. Everyone has a sob story. Everyone, even the richest people to whoever, like they have a sob. Everyone has a sob story. Don't nobody give a fuck. Nobody cares. Lock in and just keep it moving. You know, if you're in an interview, if you're talking about your life experience, it's cool, but everybody has a sob story. Everyone will get punched in the face by life. Now, getting punched in the face by another man, it's tough. You know, I've been punched in the face. I've also punched in the face. I come from the Bronx, New York. That shit was, not easy. High school out there was tough, but not everybody's going to have the same experiences. But I just think that wisdom comes from many different areas. You know, I moved out of home. I moved out at 18 years old, and I went to Miami. I was all over the place. So I've been 29 years old. I feel that a lot of my life experiences and also other people's life experiences and me just trying to learn and trying to be a sponge. I wasn't a sponge at first. I thought I knew it all. I thought I had it figured out. Like, this is what I'm going to do. This is how I'm going to do it. This is what I got going on. Like, I'm better than everybody. I got it. Like, you get punched in the face. You know what I'm saying? Like, you get punched in the face by life. But not everybody gets punched in the face by life. People get punched in the face by life in many different times. Like Brandon said, he didn't know what his Xanax was till he was 30. There's a lot of people that they live a pretty good life. They were pretty good, and then boom, at fucking 40 years old, they just got punched by life because they did something stupid. That Leopold guy, fucking, I don't know how old that guy is. He's young. He got hit in the punch in the face by Citadel, by Ken Griffin. You know what I'm saying? He put out one post. He was over leveraged, and now he got to give up everything he's ever earned at a very young age. He needed to get punched in the face. He didn't have the experience enough to play the game. It got him to a certain level. He was talented enough, but there's certain experiences that you just can't pay for. You kind of got to pay for it in the time being. And so it's tough, man. Everybody goes through it at different times. But my advice to people my age that I always tell is try to learn from others and watch their mistakes and try not to make those. Try to just be aware. There's some that you're going to have to go through by yourself, but there's some that you can't avoid because you're learning from others. And that to me is like my biggest lesson in life that I can try to help other people with, because some people just, for some reason, they have to see it for themselves. And sometimes you kind of don't. Just don't go over there, bro. You just saw this guy get shot in the head by going over there. Why would you go over there? You know what I mean? Like, but some people just, that's just the way they are.
That's one of the definitions of genius, Lou. I mean, if you can learn from others, boy, oh boy, can you exponentially grow your life. Yeah, a lot of people can't, though. They just, for whatever reason, they just.
I've been there, though. I've been there, so I understand that. I understand that part of it, but it's tough, man. Life is tough. Life is not easy. But it's worth living, you know, and you have to find meaning in that. And there's a lot of people that that I know personally that feel that life is not worth living, bro. Like it's like this weird.
Fiat will do that to you, for sure.
Yeah, we'll do that to you.
Fiat will do that to you. It
That's why I watch
disincentivizes fulfillment. Yeah. Wow. Dude, to go back to this other point, though, really quick. Again,
these comments today have been good, man.
They've been good. They have been good. The Elon thing, like we brought up Elon, power persuasion and energy. This is where we know Bitcoin's going to go up in USD forever because they're going to print forever. Bitcoin stays decentralized and secured, obviously through the COLDCARD stuff, right? The Bitcoin protocol is completely untouched, right? Like there's nothing to do with the Bitcoin protocol. So I think it's important to remember, again, time converts more than reason, that providing, not sitting around and doing nothing all day, provide value to society, save in Bitcoin, whatever portion that is, wherever you're keeping that, hey, you do you, back to these purity tests, you do you, whatever's comfortable for you, whatever amount of Bitcoin you have, you do you. And there's always been this, these unwritten rules of Bitcoin that, so many people have espoused over time of like, you got to have everything in Bitcoin. But in a perfect world, if 1%, 3%, 5% just put everything into Bitcoin, everyone said, F off with your dollar, then yeah, you probably change society really quickly. But that's not the case. That's not how it's going to happen. So over time, over the next 10 or 20 years, as the core group of Bitcoiners really learn custody, understand it, and get to that other side, they will become very wealthy. And those people, because they have power and energy and influence now, will take on legacy businesses, legacy assets. They will get into influential positions in power. They will create businesses and products and services in the Bitcoin industry. And that's where you're going to see massive change over the next decade or two. It's not going to come from, again, shortcut and hacks and ETFs and wrappers and all this bullshit. It won't happen there. It's going to happen because I have the power in the energy. Energy is persuasive. I can flap my gums all day. Like I said, the family reunion, I can get on the microphone. There's a DJ there, a karaoke thing going on. I could have got on the microphone and started bullshitting about Bitcoin, and everyone would have flipped me off and then left. But if you have power and I say, oh yeah, I'm a Bitcoiner, and oh yeah, I just bought 3 businesses and I pulled up on my Lamborghini, and guess what people do? They turn their head and say, what the fuck is that guy doing? That's what happens. And people don't want to admit that, but it takes time to do that. You can't just sit off and go into the corn stalks and do nothing. It doesn't exist then, out of sight, out of mind. But we're not there yet. Enough Bitcoiners aren't sufficiently wealthy enough yet, but we know what will happen if you are in Bitcoin and you make it over the next 10 or 20 years. You will have a lot of purchasing power. You trade that Bitcoin for other assets, for businesses, for power and influence, whatever it is, and you can begin to change the world. And that's what's influential. That's where the power and energy, all this stuff, that's the Trump stuff, what's going on, power and energy. What do we see? Energy choke points, financial war. It's a financial war. These are all financial wars. He who has the Bitcoin makes rules going forward. And so it's remembering that over time. Who has the power right now? A Jack Dorsey, a Jack Mallers, people like that. Who has influence? It's because what? They have thousands of Bitcoin. Elon Musk, like people that Sailor, they have influence because guess what? They have a lot of Bitcoin. And so that will increase over time. And again, it's not sexy. It's a slow thing. It sucks, but hey, that's life moving at the right pace at the right time.
Chef Brandon cooking once again.
Yeah, it's a good reminder for everybody, I think, because it is easy to look at a guy like Jack Mallers, Jack Dorsey, all the people in Bitcoin who are speaking at conferences, who are buying the houses on the hill. And it's easy to wish that was you. And really the only thing that you're missing is time, right? Because Mallers has been in Bitcoin for 12 years. I would argue that Dorsey was one of the people that helped start Bitcoin. So
really quickly, this is a really important thing. I almost tweeted this out the other day, but who has the most influence on Twitter in Bitcoin, right? People that have spent the most time in Bitcoin. I would argue the vast majority of these people don't even really understand Bitcoin that well. There's a lot of influencers that are horseshit. They don't know their ass from their elbow, but they've been in Bitcoin a long time. It doesn't mean they know a lot about Bitcoin. So again, this goes back to being careful though too, verifying, not trusting, doing your homework, triangulating position. But sorry, I had to bring that up, Jor, because you just hit on something that is super important, I think. And it's just because someone's there for a long time doesn't also mean they are super smart or they're very wise. So that has to be said as well. So sorry for interrupting.
Yeah, no worries. And you can't shortcut time. That's the whole point, right? Like, yeah, they got a couple thousand Bitcoin, but in 10 years from now, we're going to have what the equivalent of that is now. And what we have, it's just, we got to put in the time. And nobody likes doing that. Nobody likes talking about it. Like we've talked about, it's not sexy. But it's still, and the one thing about this whole experience for me is like, it's the best kind of lesson to learn where you watch something, you feel something, you have that feeling in your gut. You got to check your balance to see if your Bitcoin's still there. Everybody went through that. So you felt that experience and you got away unscathed. It's like getting into a car crash, right? And living to tell about it. You're probably not going to do what you did to cause that car crash again, because you learned from it. You felt that pain, but you walked away from it. So it's like the best way to learn is actually by feeling that, but getting out of it alive. And I think that anybody who's still here on the other side of this, we got a lot of responsibility now, man. And I saw those guys on RHR yesterday. They were pretty sad and humiliated, but it's
Hey, I'll tell you this. I'll tell you this. And my advice, Brandon, you cool with these guys? That COLDCARD video keeps popping up on my feed.
Which one?
I'm talking about the BTC session guys. I think Ben is his name. It just keeps popping up like on my feed. I guess people are going back to watch him talk about COLDCARD setup.
Oh, it's like an old video you're saying, like one of
it's an old video. Yeah, it's an old video.
Yeah.
It's like it keeps popping up. But that's like the algorithm doing that bullshit where I guess more people are going back to see whether these guys promoted it and stuff like that, bro. They have it's not their fault, bro. Like anybody's fault. Like it's so stupid. Like I see people trying to do that thing. Like, oh, you promoted it, bro. You promoted this. How the fuck were you supposed to know? Like, you know what I mean? Or how, like if somebody was promoting FTX back in the day, which is stupid, but still, like, how are you supposed to know this Sam Bankman-Fried guy was doing all that stuff like that? It's crazy. It's tough. But
that
you
one
are
was a little more obvious though.
That one was tough, but like I look back at that, I've watched every documentary about that, and I'm like, damn, like it's tough, man. It's a tough situation, bro. Like Graham Stephan or all these guys, like how the fuck, like you getting some money, you feeding your family, but it's tough, bro. Like I don't blame people for promoting certain things or doing certain things. I that's not where my number one thought goes. Like, yeah, you promoted this. It's like the Democrats being mad at David Pacman or Midas Touch for constantly talking about Trump. And then there was a poll that came out. They're talking about the poll, and then fucking Kamala gets smoked in every swing state. It's kind of like, no, that's their fault. They were promoting the wrong person to win. But yeah, you get my point. I hope you guys get my point. They were promoting the wrong person. They made their followers believe that Kamala was going to win the election. I saw videos where they're like, there's no way that Trump wins the swing state. The way that this is going, and then she gets smoked in every swing state. So
and the same people will listen to them again, Lou.
True, but how the fuck were you supposed to know that there was a bug?
Yeah.
Or should you have known?
Well, no. I was talking about the.
No, I'm flipping it. I'm going back to credibility meets time. Like it just credibility and time. Like I see a lot because I'm just going by my algorithm and what I've been reading and seeing. You click on one stupid post and you get 1,000 more posts on X. It's just the way it fucking goes now. So it's like, who's to blame? The people. Are you blaming other people for, like, you know what I mean? Like it's kind of like
your agency.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's hard for me to kind of express what I'm trying to say here, but it's just more like, I'm not gonna blame people for a mistake of that. Like it was that we trusted it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it was trusted. Like COLDCARD was the thing. From all the research I've done, it was the thing. It was the standard. It was the Bitcoin standard of cold wallets type of thing. Like it was what a fuck up. What a fuck up. Like, how do you fuck this up?
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. When you really search it up and you really search up the credibility and you search up everything, like I can see why people are heartbroken. I can see why people are devastated. I can see it. Because it's not like if it was Robinhood on an exchange or if it was another exchange, bro, we expected that. But not from your cold storage or somewhere you think is really safe, and some people that at some point were really credible.
Yeah, and exactly. I think part of it too is what gets conflated in a little bit of this as well is it's again, the Bitcoin protocol has not changed. There'd be a problem if there was the Bitcoin protocol, or there'd be a problem if there's 256-bit, you know, the 12 or 24 word seed phrase. If it was actually that, the entropy, you know, it actually didn't work, right? Like, that's the problem. You know, it's hard to verify, like the unknown unknowns of like, oh, they didn't, the random number generator was not working properly. You know, now we have tools where we can start doing it. We didn't have that 5 years ago. You know, people didn't have the ability to necessarily easily go do that. And that's what's tough. So, and I think when you zoom out even further too, Lou, like in everyone, like people don't want to admit that you have to trust things in life. Like I think a lot of Bitcoiners, we tend to get into this silo of like, again, you can get a little bit too Puritan and say, well, you know, I don't have to trust anything, anyone. It's just like, oh, Bitcoin. It's like, well, again, I've got to trust the guy that's going on a 2-lane road going opposite of me. He doesn't swerve into my lane and I see him at the right time and I can swerve. Like, I have to trust in humanity in a lot of ways in my life. I got to trust that there's groceries that show up at the store, or I'm going to go, you know, hunt, or that, you know, whatever it is. Like, I have to be able to trust the firearms manufacturers can be able to sell me a gun. And like, if it's not there, I can't buy one. You know, like there's so much trust in the world, but a lot of Bitcoiners, we tend to get so myopic and think we can substitute, like the Bitcoin protocol is a substitute for all of this in life. Like trust doesn't exist ever. And that's a very dangerous thing. And we can get ourselves in a lot of trouble doing that. And again, Bitcoin doing its thing in a perfect world can hopefully flip the incentives, the architecture of society. So the incentives are different. And then you incentivize better behavior and incentivize the good behavior in humans instead of the evil in humans, which is fiat, which is, again, goes back to Jordan and I, we talked about this, but we know that humans are made good because there's not Mad Max going on. 10 or 8 billion people at each other's throats, killing each other every single day, and 100 million murders every day. That's how we know, even with fiat all across the world, every government has fiat currencies backed by nothing. Even when it incentivizes the worst in all of us to do the worst, we still aren't at mass scale. So that's what gives me great hope. And I know we're going the right direction. We're going up into the right, just with decentralization, freedom, sovereignty, everything. And this communication, being able to do this. We couldn't do this, like we said earlier, for thousands of years. Now we can. We're going up into the right. It just isn't happening as fast as we want it, but we will get there.
I just saw the COLDCARD new firmware hot fix, saying it's bricking a lot of cold cards. On a side note,
It's a situation for sure, and I think that I really believe that this is one of the most important battles in human history that we're fighting right now. I really truly believe that, and we're not going to get this chance again. There's not going to be another Bitcoin. If we somehow screw this up and we're too scared, and we just hand over all of our trust to the BlackRocks and to the Sailors and to the Coinbases of the world, we're right back where we started. Then Bitcoin just becomes everything else. So I think that we've had a lot of arguments through the last couple of weeks of like, what is Bitcoin? Is it money? Is it more than money? I believe it's something way bigger than money myself. I think that having a ledger that nobody can fuck around with, and that actually keeps a true record of history, and the ability that you can send value to anybody without anybody's permission, and the fact that it's something that you can actually own yourself, or the closest thing that you can own because of how it is. It's the most important battle, I think, in human history, or at least one of them. And I think that if we give up this easily, I think that speaks volumes of just where we are. But we got to keep fighting. We have to keep talking about this in a positive light. I know this sucks, and we're all kind of we're still feeling the impacts of it. But we got to move forward from it. We have to. And we have to talk about how good it is and how important it is to learn how, not just to take self-custody, but how to learn how to do it. And along the way, I've been doing this for years now, and I've made a lot of mistakes. I've lost a lot of sats, but it's made me a lot better of a Bitcoiner. And I think that having those experiences under my belt, I'm able to more effectively communicate and help other people. And I think that we got to look at this like a lesson learned, that we got out unscathed, and we got to keep going forward with this. This is the most important thing. And, we can't give up this easily. We can't run to IBID because we're scared that, AI is going to get us. But last thing I'll say on this is that we have to expect AI to improve, technology to improve. You have to, if you're going to take self-custody, take precaution. Have to. It's no longer like an option. If you're going to do this, you can't half-ass it. You got to go balls deep into it. And you know, we'll see who comes out the other side of it. I think that we're going to be in a much better place.
Lou's getting ready to do another video. Get a video going. Let's go live. This thing. Can you go live in the other channel right now while we're doing this too? Let's go. Come on, Lou. Let's do it.
There you go.
Got the link.
Lou,
What y'all know about this shit right here, man? What y'all know about this shit right here, man?
Is that for the house, Lou?
That's for travel stuff. That's a traveling one, it's a small one, and I also have a bulletproof backpack and everything. This is from a sponsor. It's called Satellite Phone Store 123. And I got a satellite phone, obviously. So this is a good sponsor. I love sponsors like that. But I don't know why the fuck I did that. We've been here for a fucking long time.
Yeah, let's wrap her up.
No. Before we do wrap up,
let's do final thoughts here. Yeah.
Before we do wrap up, I just want to say, it broke my heart. I'm being facetious again, but it did break my heart that I left my treasure single sig, bro. I had everything and I trusted that thing, and I still do. And there's some people that call me crazy, but I'm not. My 12-word single sig raw dog did not fail me. It did not fail me. And what's crazy about this, Jerry, speaking of the Bitcoin conference, there was a guy I was talking to. He had a lot of money. He was raw dogging like me too. He had his shorty. I had my shorty. He was raw dogging. I was raw dogging. And he showed me a lot of Bitcoin in one. And I'm like, you know what? Fuck yeah, we're doing the right thing here, bro. And we had I'm sure that in his mind, he don't even know if the entropy was done correctly. Like, he just like, fuck it. Treasure is the name we're trusting. And I think at the end of the day,
Lou, are you guys just having a dick measuring contest right in the middle of the floor, the main floor of the conference?
No, we were in the booth. We were in the booth of the treasure booth. And I was just talking. I was like, hey, like I took my shit out of the exchange. It took me a while. He's like, yeah, man, yeah, bro, look at this shit, bro. Yeah, I got the app and shit. Yeah, Treasure Suite, you gotta trust it. So I'm like, yeah, no, it's cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is how much Bitcoin I got. How much Bitcoin you got in there? You trust it? He's like, yeah, I trust it, man. Look, I got a bunch of, yeah. So I was like, yeah, man. All right, cool. I bet. So I was like, shit, he go down, I go down. We all go down. You know what I mean? Like, he got a lot there. We all go down together. But nah, man, it's heartbreaking, man. Brandon, it's just heartbreaking, bro. Like, I didn't want to do it.
It is. We're all feeling, man.
And I don't know who was a sin, or it was somebody about living life on the edge, but there was a thrill about opening that app every day, just hoping the money's in there. Hey, that shit is a thrill of a lifetime, bro. I don't recommend it, but it's like getting on a roller coaster, bro. Like, it's just like, all right, hope it's there. We went off the rails again.
Every time Robin leaves, we just get off the rails, boys. We got to make sure Robin
Poor Robin. It's like all the blue collar, or we're really white collar guys, their pension, like in 08, 09. It's just like poof, like open it up one day, it's gone, right.
Those guys,
there you go.
Those guys were
wild.
Back to the Leopold guy.
Wild.
Super high leverage situations, liquidations. I mean, these guys are playing different types of games.
Don't be in the big three in 08, 09, 10. You worked your whole life, and all of a sudden it's just gone. Poof, gone. Sorry.
Mark Moss spoke about his experience and losing everything at that time.
Oh, yeah. He was in the big three, though. He was like in real estate. Yeah,
that was crazy.
But here in Michigan, like so many white collar workers, so many people, probably a fair amount of blue collar. Blue collar guys got the bailout, though, I think, afterward. But white collar guys, gone. I know tons of people who lost everything basically 50, 60 years old, 17 years ago. Like nothing. Sorry.
So and it's gone.
And it's gone. Later.
Yeah, that's sick. That's got to be a sick feeling, bro. But I'm going multi-sig. I'm gonna try out this big key. I'm gonna set everything up. Keep my money in the exchange. Yeah, I'm gonna keep everything in the exchange for now, and then I'm just gonna try every option possible. I'm gonna see how I feel, and we'll see what happens. I'm excited though. It's exciting to see. It's exciting to know that there's a such thing as beneficiaries. Like, hey, this is where the money would go. That's something that Big Key does that really excited me. I was like, fuck, man, I think about that shit every day. So that's something that's very, very, very exciting to me. It's like, okay, something does happen. you know, somebody that I love will get this money. And that's cool with me. I'm good with that. Instead of having them search everywhere, like for every clue, and this is where that was at, and you know, so it's good.
I think, you know, and stay the course too. Like, I guess the last thing I'll say is that, and I think I mentioned this the other day, I don't know where it was, but again, the revolution wasn't looking good, wasn't looking pretty. And Washington said, hey, we're going, boys. We're heading across the Delaware, sneak attack Christmas night. Let's rock and roll. And many such cases. So don't lose faith. I mean, this is like George said, this is the last shot at reorienting the architecture of society going forward. It's not going to take a day or two or a year. It's going to take years, decades to do it. But someone's got to hold the proverbial musket. Someone has to be the gatekeepers and custodying their coins and doing stuff like, you know, trying new stuff out like Lou's doing. Everyone's starting to, you know, looking at their setups, trying new stuff, and, you know, waking us out of our stupor. Really, at the end of the day, every single one of us, every Bitcoiner, it's affected every single Bitcoiner in some way, shape, or fashion. And it's often darkest before the dawn. Just like 10 years ago when the fork happened there, things took off after that. Guess what? If in 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, we're talking all-time highs again or something like that, guess what? Hopefully everyone's got a better setup, and you know, we're riding high. And hopefully people that lost stuff, they're stacking coin again, and then look, their coin goes up, the stuff they do stack. So it will get better. The sun will rise tomorrow, but just remember, like, when it all seems lost, it's not. Miracles happen, miracles can happen and do happen. So just remember that.
Well said, Brandon. And everybody's again stuck between a rock and a hard place. But I want to say this real quick. It's hard being a Bitcoiner, and it's tough to make a decision. I'm gonna do a shameless plug here real quick. This goes for you too, Lou. If you're in the middle of a process of thinking about what kind of setup you want to do, I would definitely highly recommend talking to my boy right here, Jor, about it. This is what he does, and he's very good at it, Lou, and everybody else in the chat. So make sure you just at least talk to him and sit down with him for a free consultation and see what's up with that. Because, again, this is what he does all day long.
He was the one that told me about the single sig was crazy.
Yeah. So I'm telling you guys, if you didn't know that, this is what he does. But we got to hold the fort down, guys. It's tough being a Bitcoiner. You know, you're the leader of your family. And again, I always say this: once you get through this, they're going to be building statues of you in the future.
Listen, man, as long as it's not the Bitcoin protocol failing, something happening to it, code getting cracked or brute attack, whatever the fuck, it's not Bitcoin's fault. You know what I'm saying? Like, this has nothing to do with Bitcoin, like, at all. Nothing in Bitcoin has changed. Bitcoin it's still doing what Bitcoin does, right? Blocks are still being mined. Things are still happening. That's it. That's the way I think about it. You know, this is just the outside noise of a bad fuck up from somebody that was trusted, but that nothing to do with Bitcoin, bro. Like, that shit has nothing to do with Bitcoin. So but that's the fight, though, right? Because now people think that has something to do with Bitcoin. Like, some idiots are like, oh, this is why you can't invest in Bitcoin, bro. It's like, bro, like, what the fuck does that have to do with Bitcoin? Like, it had nothing to do with it. But I guess that's why the price keeps going up. I guess, you know, like 64, I would, or something like that. I was bracing for impact. I was like, oh man, here we go back to 57. Oh my God, we might hit the 40s after this. I'm like, this thing ain't even moving. Matter of fact,
Went up,
CNBC's not even talking about it. CNBC didn't even choose to talk. There's no articles. There's a few articles, obviously, but it's like barely any crazy mainstream attention. So I was like, wow. So yeah, we get to live to see another day. And I appreciate this conversation, boys. I gotta go. I gotta work. I gotta take my girl out to dinner. And I got a flight to New York tomorrow, so I got a busy week. So hopefully I can catch you guys as soon as possible. And we still got to talk about we still got to talk about the YouTube channel and stuff like that. With another one. So.
Lou, I got to send you a message because he sent us an email, Robin, and we'll talk about it. We're going to set up a meeting.
Yeah, well, I think we should definitely get on that like as soon as possible. And I'm gonna send one of you guys my number so that way you can reach me. The Signal app, bro. I'm gonna be honest, I barely see any messages there.
Yeah.
All right, love y'all, man.
Yep.
See you, Lou. Okay, boys. Well, let's wrap it up. I just want to end with this because this is one thing that I talked about this morning that I think people could benefit from hearing. Because I know there's a lot of Bitcoin that's kind of in limbo right now temporarily. And I put together this little spreadsheet for people just to kind of help people through this. because a lot of people are using passphrases for the first time, and they are a really good thing, but there's a lot that can go wrong if you don't really know what you're doing with it. So it's basically like a 2 of 2 multi-sig. The first key being your 12 or 24 words, the second key being your passphrase. And if you lose one of these 2 keys, your Bitcoin is gone. The passphrases themselves are case sensitive. You have to keep multiple copies, and this is in bold because this is the most important part. You have to keep multiple copies of your passphrase in multiple locations. And keep your passphrase. Again, I know there's a lot of people going through this and they're just kind of trying to survive it, but spend some time over these next couple of days thinking about where you can leave these. Keeping your passphrase in a separate location from your master seed. That's very important for a couple of reasons, but mostly if somebody were to find it, and you want to remove the single point of failure from it. If you have your 12 words in your passphrase in one spot and something happens to that location, your Bitcoin's gone. If you have your 12 words in one spot, your hardware device in another, and your passphrase in another, you're pretty much bulletproof in a lot of ways, but you have to make sure that your passphrase is backed up. And that's what I would say. You just got to be very careful with it. Be very diligent over these next couple of days and weeks. And, just don't move too quickly. I think that'd be my best advice for people here. Don't move too quickly. Don't make any rash decisions on it. And like I said, the other side of this, everybody here is probably going to have better security than they had last week. So to me, that's a very positive thing about this whole thing, if there is anything. But just be careful with it. If you're kind of unsure, like Jerry said there, I appreciate the plug there, Jerry. Just reach out to me, send me an email. We can set up a quick call and we can just talk about things and just see if what you're doing makes sense, if there's anything that you can improve off of that. And I'm more than happy to help with you. So that's it, boys. This was quite a bit longer than expected, but we'll be back here sooner than later. I don't know if it'll be Thursday or next Tuesday or whenever. We're still kind of figuring this stuff out. But thanks, boys. Thanks, everybody in the chat. We had a great time today. Lots of laughs, and as much needed in based on what's been happening here. So thanks, Jerry. Thanks, Brandon. Thanks, everybody in the chat.
Everybody.
We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, guys.